rough.
All right. So, who wants to recap last session?
Ooh.
How?
Do we have to?
Power!
Do we have power?
Broad strokes.
Give me
Okay,
a cool
I'm gonna
chuckle.
expunge some data from the file.
No.
So-
Shit didn't go right for Alsana.
We went and
Hang
we
on.
fought some Nagas who were completely unreasonable and didn't give us a single chance to talk to them whatsoever. We walked in the room and they attacked us instantly.
Not biased whatsoever.
Yeah, way to
Totally
throw-
attacked.
Way to
Devin's
throw
curse of the
David
world
under
continues.
the Bus, thank you.
Yeah, like I wasn't already being thrown under the bus by fate.
Again,
And after that,
Not my
we
fault,
proceeded to move to collect the Naga bodies into the bags of holding because they were just narrow enough, although it took a little bit of work to throw in Kane's bag. And then we sat down, had a rest after our big day of fighting skull lords and Nagas and undead to identify some magical things. We got quite a few things. Among others, let's scroll on my sheet. We got we checked the staff for Kane, which was an attunement staff for the Staff of Lordly Might. Was it? Rod of Lordly
Rod of-
Might.
Yeah.
Lord of the Might, and it's fucking awesome.
There's the amulet for Kalta, which I completely forget what it was.
Balance.
What's that? What's that? Oh yeah, no, it gave you the resistances that the Skull Lord had.
Doing bonus action stuff.
Mhm.
And the mirror, which seems to be a scrying mirror. As well, we checked the silver bell, which we're pretty sure is used for Toll Dead. There's a...
Okay. I've suddenly gone unable to hear you. Oh boy.
Oh no.
That's what
Oh
happened.
no.
Technical difficulties. In the meantime, who wants to see some big numbers?
Sure.
Aha!
Oh no!
Ha!
Big numbers! That's a
Big number.
13.
Plus. Ah!
Ah!
There's the fun one.
There's the fun one.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, people are being irritating.
Story of your life.
Yep. Other things. There was a Stitchhide bag and the Blackstone chain, which is a very haggy thing. Blackrock Sandal we're still unsure of. Ornate Silver Key with a Sapphire is fun, as it, when placed into a door, portals, creates a portal from there to a cabin out far north in the, what are they called? Silver Glistening Force. And there was a whole nice thing there that Sana is going to turn into something else. There's a potion of fire breath, a potion of greater healing, probably, and a potion of laughter.
Yeah.
I love how much you apparently doubt all of this. It's great.
It's you.
If it was anything other than a healing potion, where there's literally a potion of poison that says it acts like it isn't. We also got 2 vials of Guardian Naga poison and 2 vials of Spirit Naga poison. We have a black pudding in a jar, 10 pieces of silver from the Old Kingdom, and
Context of black pudding in a jar sounds delicious.
yeah, no, go ahead, eat some. And in the actual party loot, other stuff just on the screen right now for recording at least. After that, we leveled up. We got to level 11, for at least some people did.
Yep.
And also, Kane, Alaris, and Kalda went about clearing out any roaming undead that was left in the compound, as Alsana went and had some fun in her new little cabin. Also, Alsana left a note there in case there was anyone who's actually living there, saying she's wanting to move in. And then we decided to do transport via plants, because that's the thing I have now, to pop out just north of Winslethor. And then drop off the somewhat fresh Naga bodies to Morticia as well, to just kinda spend some time before it's time for the ritual.
Well, Kane's not going to do anything about it. He totally thinks that Alsana should just be like, hey, what's up? Regard.
Oh yes, also there was
Oh,
a
also,
talk-
we made Alsana cry.
Yeah.
We made
Oh yeah,
Alsana
that,
cry last session.
Yeah, we made Alsana cry.
yes,
That is-
there's other character stuff. Alsana is a bit reconciled with Kane, a bit.
a bit.
Let's get there.
Found out she's not willing to commit to anything with Morticia because she's half assuming she's gonna die by the end of this whole ordeal. And is there anything else with like the small character stuff? Because I feel like I'm bad at remembering that.
Kane's not old anymore.
Yes, Kane got Kane got de-olded,
De-olded.
freshened up.
Old.
He was injected with
Re-younged.
What Alex, actually?
reborn, more powerful than before.
Rehydrated.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have Kane in a can?
Kane in a
Kane, can you do the Kane? Sorry.
Okay. I think that was it.
Yeah.
All right. So, you guys have emerged from a tree onto the road facing Windsor, startling a random traveler as he headed out of the city.
Ah, yes.
Technically, though, I did forget one thing. It is later in the afternoon, evening. He probably would have been heading into the city, not out of it, given the time frame of the day. I did
That's
forget
probably
that
good.
when I put that detail in. So we'll roll that back a little bit.
He started going the other way because he was freaked out a bit, and then he realized he was going the wrong way.
Fuck.
There was a little bit of you. You pretty much moved out onto the road between him and the city, and he started to go nope,
Turned
and
the other way.
and then kind of went oh, but everything else is so far away, and it's almost night, and reluctantly turned the donkey back around.
We can glance up behind our shoulders, and he's keeping a good, 200-foot distance.
I think if that's the case, Kane is going to just start walking slower and slower until he's next to the guy.
You walk slower, so does he.
He's
You
just going
slow
to
down
continue this and
further.
see how much he can fuck with this dude in that case.
You walk at
Just
a
keep walking.
you-
keep, like, slowing
come
down
to a
the
stop.
point where you get to a full stop. Yeah.
yeah, you come to a stop. And at that point, the guy kind of takes his donkey slightly off-road, just enough to give you a bit of a berth.
I'll kneel down to pretend to tie my boots for a second
hmm
and let him pass me. I walk up next to him. I go, hey there.
Hello.
Huh,
He's
what's
not
your name?
looking at you.
My name is Kane, and I'm serious.
Nothing.
Odd name, but I guess you humans, I assume. Sometimes pick weird names.
Mm.
My dad, his name is Roy. His name's a kid Roy.
Roy. With an H.
Yeah, with an H.
Second
Like,
time using
how pretentious do you
an
have to be?
H.
I'm sure I couldn't comment.
Yeah, with a name like Random, I see why. But come on. It's got a last name, Random. NPC, maybe.
No.
And
I'm nothing.
Random nothing. Did your parents have some kind of bitter rivalry or something? Seems strange.
Why are you talking to me?
Let's just sorry, I'm kind of dumb. I think something to do with the whole half-orc genes. Just wanted to say hello.
Here,
Dane, what are you doing?
if I give you this, will you just leave me alone in peace? And he kind of roots around and holds out a couple of silver pieces.
Alsana, I assume, hearing this whole
Hold on,
thing with
Hold on,
passive.
hold on. Hold on.
I'm,
Okay,
I'm
I'm just
asking
gonna,
if she hears it. That's all.
Hold on. Okay, let's go. I mean, sure, and he'll take the silver piece and hand him a gold piece instead. I need to change anyways.
Just, I'd like peace and quiet on my trip into the city, please.
Apologies, sure thing. He'll just walk next to him completely silently.
Oh my god.
He sighs, but you see him kind of curl his fingers around the coin and slip it into the pouch.
If at any point Alsana looks back at him, he just winks at her.
Alsana, you would have heard.
Yeah,
some of
she looked back. There's the wink, and there's like the the upper lip goes up, and the face kind of like small, like disgusted look.
Yeah.
Mm,
Keep in mind, Kane has like 6 weapons on him right now, so I'm sure this is terrifying for this poor man.
Mhm.
It's almost like people have never seen fully armed a group before walk out of a tree before. Fuck.
Yeah.
do we get into the town?
You do get into the town just fine.
Kane, come along now.
Sure thing, my lady. He'll jog up next to her.
Come on. Even that was weird even for you.
Yeah, if you want to take a swing at him with your broom, go ahead.
Mm,
The traveler
She freezes his pants.
takes it. He takes
I'm
the
under, like,
first
it's all under metal,
side-
dude. Good luck.
He takes the first side street you guys come upon into the city, and you very quickly lose him.
First of all, I don't know what game you're playing, but you're going to stop that.
Oh, I'm sorry, is terrorizing people in a town suddenly against the rules in this
I
party?
don't care about that. I care about what you just called me, you wretch.
Oh, I was trying to make him uncomfortable, but I see it made you uncomfortable too, so win-win.
Ugh, that made me uncomfortable.
And second of
Oh,
all,
win-win.
and second of all, the
John just fucking... John just left Discord.
Oh no.
and,
He's back.
and second of all, I definitely partake in that, but it's in bad taste to keep yourself in their presence for that long. You give them rock experience, and that'll leave them thinking about it for the rest of the day, and then you leave them to go about their business.
See, that's the way you do it, but unfortunately, I don't have this wonderful thing you seem to be born with called subtlety. Instead, I just have mild chaos.
Yes, and I don't have upper body strength, but I don't go around swinging great swords anyways.
Oh,
Making it,
Talaris.
just making it extremely awkward instead of terrorizing them, which is technically a form of terrorizing them.
Yes. I didn't hurt anyone, and I paid him for his troubles.
That's the only reason I'm not freezing your pants entirely.
I mean, also, can you imagine the sound it would make?
Your pants freezing?
Imagine the sound frozen pants underneath metal armor would sound like.
Let's find out. And she points.
I imagine at that point he just like does a squat and the most horrible creaking sound you ever heard comes out of it.
Not the worst thing ever.
I mean,
Kane doesn't resist it, it's on pants, so.
Wants
Mhm.
two shit up pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pants are thoroughly frostbitten and have disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of its turn.
sounds good.
So he just squats and it's just like,
Well, with that said, I'd like to get those two to Morticia as quickly as possible, just so they don't get too, you know. Would you mind either giving me the bag or coming along and just dropping it off?
come along with you, like I said. You're gonna need some help taking it out anyways.
And the other two? Are you looking for a place to stay tonight, or?
Came out a little bit, taking it out. Promise I won't say anything. Cross my heart. Don't worry. And then we could probably get a place nearby, no more Morticia's, if there's something.
Up to you.
What?
What?
What? All I heard was to you, and I'm very
Up to you.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
Yeah, just to help out get up. I'll get up. They're big.
Oh, we hear you, John.
Yeah.
Can we make our way to Morticia's?
Yes, you can. You know the way well by now.
Mhm.
It's no trouble navigating. The streets are starting to grow dim. You see the lanterns being lit, the various colors of flame or normal light through colored glass, painting the city in a variety of shades. But you make your way to that little side street and enter Morticia's shop.
She has like a knock, 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 knock on the front door.
There is a single chime as you open the door up and step inside. It's not locked yet, though it seems like Morticia was just in the process of cleaning up for the day, as you see the floor is half the floor is darkened stone where it's damp, and she's standing in the center with a bucket of water and a mop in her hand.
Hello, sorry, I know you're just closing up. Can we do some late evening business?
Ah, what a surprise! Of course, come in, all of you. She excuse
Come
the
in.
mess. I'm just in the middle of cleaning.
Mhm.
You see her put the mop and bucket to the side, leaning against the counter in a place where nobody's going to trip over it too easily.
Good to see
Mind,
you.
mind
and
your
she gives
step
her a hug.
if you. Oh, you as well. She returns it. So, what wonderful, strange surprise have you brought me this time?
There's
Kane's
this
gonna just reach in the
big
bag and
Cheshire
pull the
smile
head of the
cat on her
Naga out.
face.
Looks over at Kane.
I have
Oh.
the whole thing.
They come in a matching set of 2.
Oh yeah, he
Unusual.
puts that head in and pulls out the other one.
Wait,
It's really nice.
how large are those?
Those
What
are full
those?
Nagas, my dear.
10, 15 feet.
Huh?
Yeah.
You see just this expression of almost disbelief, but in the face of clear evidence.
If it
I
helps.
cannot fathom you
Maybe
at
it helps.
times. Where on earth did you find? Nope, just come over here, lay them out. This is worth it.
Kane is
put
gonna
them on
put
the
like a
counter
head of
here.
one on the table.
As
and
much as you can.
called it a hold on to it. He's gonna get Galaris to hold on to the head on the other side, and just like you're peeling a carrot very quickly, just like yank the bag down as hard as you can to get it all the way off.
You can't clear it in one. It takes like 2 or 3, but you can like shuffle the coils up and pull. One Naga pretty much covers the entire like main examination table in this room that Morticia keeps, and it's spilling off the edge. There are like loops and coils that are just resting on the floor because you could not cram them and keep them up on the tabletop. Out of curiosity, was it the Guardian or Spirit Naga that you did first? Green or purple?
Guardian.
So Morticia is looking at this green serpentine creature with a humanoid face covering her entire workstation. And she looks over and says, and you said there are 2.
And she nods. The other one's not in the as good condition, but it's still the whole body.
My goodness. Alsana, you do know how to present me with challenges. To be honest, I have never actually dealt with anything quite like this before. The occasional serpent, yes, ordinary as they may be. Sometimes somebody wants a snakeskin or had a little bit of trouble with one that got into a place where it should not have, but this... Not to bring it to purely business, but to be quite honest, I have no idea what the going price would be for any component of this.
Either
I
do
will-
I.
Pause. Son, you been getting money for these corpses?
And she turns like, we've gone through this before, yes.
I thought that was just for some of them.
And moreover, I'm understanding these are extenuous circumstances. As such, I'm not going to be robbing you of your reserves.
Well, I should hope not. I think that we're on better terms than that.
As such, I would trust you then that you can have them for now, basically, and depending on what business or buyers or what have you, you could find for them, we can arrange and negotiate afterwards.
Well, that sounds reasonable to me as well. It'll at least allow me some time to get a feel for any market, any potential for all of these materials.
And I will also say, from my understanding, she looks over to Kane, that storage we hold it in has no air to it. So if you do need a place to stick them, least in the short term, while we're still in town.
No, I think I should be able to manage with the storage facilities I have at the moment, though it'll get a little bit awkward if anything else comes in, or if you happen to jaunt out and return before I can properly deal with it with yet another who knows what. Tell me, how long until you bring me an entire dragon?
She like taps the side of her face.
Not just the little ones, but the full-grown thing.
My dear,
I
you
swear
give me a
it's great.
challenge.
Yeah, I really doubt she'll not do that for you.
Give it 3 weeks.
I'll tell you what, if we find one, I will be happy to.
I look forward to it with some eagerness, but also some trepidation, as I am not sure how you would get it through the door. I believe that they are rather larger than that bag could possibly hold.
Okay,
That's
just Vince. I've got strong shoulders.
Are we really gonna stuff a dragon in a bag of holding?
I will also say
Does it have to be in one piece?
that I've made some recent advancements in my own magic. I can get around much easier now, let's say.
All the same, I have heard legends of dragons larger than houses. If you happen to kill one of those, please.
I would sooner bring
Restrain,
you
okay?
to it, so to say.
That would be far more appreciated.
Yeah,
Well-
we're probably not gonna drop a dead dragon at your doorstep. We'll probably just give you a call.
Again, most appreciated. So is it business alone that brings you here?
I mean, we wanted to get these to you as soon as possible, but I do have free time on my hands.
Excellent. Give me 15 minutes to finish mopping, and,
Okay,
actually,
let me finish the mopping. I'll take
No, actually, I was going to ask if you and perhaps your other friends wouldn't mind helping carry this, whether in your bag or not, back to my storage. It's a bit cold in there, but you wouldn't be in there very long. I'll show you the way.
Give
Okay.
the call.
Yep. She shows you through a back hallway. You see another plain, bare examination style room. This one with actually just a couple of different tables, which seem to be on wheels, more like gurneys. Though there's also counter space, an array of tools on trays and on hooks on the walls. And beside that, there is a thicker metal door, which she swings open, and you see the inside is covered in some runes that glow faintly. And as she opens it, there's this of ice cold air that just breaks across you in the otherwise warm summer evening air that permeates the shop.
Alsana's been here before, right? She's been
Yes.
working with her for a while, yeah?
Yeah, you're familiar with this setup. You know that inside there are a couple more gurneys for like smaller bodies. There's some deeper storage for where Morticia tends to keep the larger offerings you tend to bring by. In fact, you might see a few little bits and pieces of something that you brought recently. I believe there was once was it a manticore that you brought?
There were pieces of Manticore.
Yeah. She might have like one or two pieces of that.
It was the
left.
dragon's head.
Oh no, that was the chimera.
No, that was the Chimera. No. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
would have... maybe.
Yeah.
Either way.
We brought bits.
There were gifts. She still has a few things remaining. Not a lot, but that's like back in deep storage. She kind of props the door open.
Sorry.
Are you guys okay? All right.
Yeah, just think fell.
All right.
Lars, don't drop it! There's a card.
Lars, would you get it?
Already dead, it's alright. Dropped a roof on it earlier.
It's about the preservation.
It's a bit late for that.
Morticia props the door open, darts inside, kind of pushes a couple of the carts over mostly empty, though there does seem to be one body on one. Don't mind that. The funeral is in just a couple of days. I was helping with preparations. Just right in here. Pile it in that corner over there. There, right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Now the
It's like
second one.
shoving a mattress into the smallest moving man in the world.
This is much bendier than your average mattress, so you're actually having a somewhat easier time of it.
Should we stack the second one just on top, like a coil of rope, or?
Might as well. Yep.
One day, Kane's just gonna flip this bag inside out and just see everything we fucking collected on these travels.
It'll be quite the collection.
I imagine there's gonna be like bits of Naga, bits of Mitzel. Like, none of it's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. That being done, she ushers you out, closes up the cooler door, and says, again, 15 minutes to finish closing up. And I will meet you somewhere if you so choose. Or you could wait and we could walk together.
I think
I'm actually also on I think we called in Lars had a bit of business. Gotta go through and everything, you know.
Go to a place to rest, you know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'll leave you lot to it if you'd like.
Yes.
You two. Well, yeah.
Send a bird if you need to find us. But hopefully the inn we took last time is still open.
Yeah.
If we get there quicker, at least there's.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I doubt it'll.
We should probably go there now just to make sure. Morticia, it's been lovely seeing you. I'm glad you enjoyed our gift.
Oh, you as well, of course.
Okay, we'll head out. Just let it, as soon as he leaves the door, it's like pump his fist. Like, yeah, best wingman ever.
I was gonna like high five and just like, oh, so proud.
Should also have a little look over after these. So I guess my schedule's opened up. If you need help closing up, then.
There's very little left to do, but if you could just take this cloth and clean off that counter.
Mm-hmm. She does so.
And in short order, you have everything back in order as it was before.
She picks up the cart that Lars knocked over.
Yep. And fairly soon, you guys have everything done, and Morticia locks up, and you head out into the town. For the rest of you, real quick, I assume that you're going out to get a place to stay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Usual inn.
I'm searching for my notes, and I did not write down the name of that inn that you stayed in the last time, I think.
I don't remember it, so if you just say a name, like. I don't know.
That doesn't work when it's
Yeah.
on record, though, because we do have actual.
We have recordings, we have notes.
Yeah. So, for the sake of this, since my notes are in disarray and I cannot find it, let's say that you guys actually stumble across an inn that's slightly closer to Morticia's than the last one you stayed in.
Alrighty.
It is going by the name. Actually, the name is written in Draconic. Who here reads that?
Nope, and both of my boys are gone.
Here.
Oh, Conrad, do you read Draconic?
I read Orc in common.
Nope.
I am a simple man.
Let me check on Alaris' sheet. I don't think he does, but, you know, double checking.
Worth a check.
It's one of those weird ones
there a-
people take sometime.
Is there an
Yeah.
image like to the side of the name?
What?
Is there like an image next to the name?
There is. I'm just wondering if anybody has the language.
Nope, he has weird one on his sheet. It's Celestial, not Draconic.
All right. So you can't make out the letters, and there doesn't seem to be the little subscript in common that is very frequently on signs. However, it shows the carved image above the name shows a very brightly colored, think the stereotypical court jester, but there seem to be like little bells at every corner of the hat, at the wrists and ankles and the waist and so on and so forth. And he seems to be dancing a jig.
Okay. So, if Calda can, like, copy just what she sees on the name, because she doesn't really know the script, onto, like, a piece of parchment, she may just write that down.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's no trouble.
Yeah, at that point,
You're
if-
just...
she'll probably then, since Alsana and Morticia, she'd run back to Morticia's shop, like, if Morticia has a little letter slot, slide it in, like, we are at this place.
All right. The letter is left.
And usually, like, from Calda, and then run in, go in, see if someone speaks common, hopefully.
You head inside, and it's a comfortable atmosphere. A little bit busy. Think a fairly popular family restaurant on
Denny's.
on like maybe a Thursday evening. It's not as packed as it would be on a weekend. But yeah, there are people in there. There's conversation. There's some music over top. You head over to the counter, kind of weaving your way between and often beneath the immediate notice of quite a few Dragonborn, a few humans. There's a gnome or two that gives you a nod and steps out of the way as they're on the floor at kind of your height level. You get up to the counter, get up onto the series of steps and platform that's there for the shorter races to stand on and be at more of an eye level.
Oh, beautiful.
And kind of flag down the Dragonborn standing behind the counter, moving quickly to fill orders, and he acknowledges you, gives you a nod. It's another minute or two before he's over there, but when he does, he leans down, says something first in Draconic, and when he sees your uncomprehending face, switches over to a not fully perfect but passable dialect of Common.
Okay.
So, what can I get you?
We're wondering if we could get a couple rooms, each with 2 beds.
2 room, 2 bed each.
Yes.
Can be done. One moment. You see him reach behind the bar, fish up a small ledger, open it up. You see, just at a glimpse, just lines of Draconic covering it. He jots something down on a new line and says, "Name?"
One just for all of it, or do you need multiple names?
Name of person with keys.
Calda.
And he writes down, in Draconic again, letters that you don't recognize, but you can only guess spells out some phonetic equivalent of Calda.
Alright.
Very good. Alright, so 2 bed, 2 night, 2 bed, 2 room, 1 night?
Yeah, can we... Yeah, I think so.
He counts out, 10 silver room.
Okay, Calda will hand him the 10 silver. Hand him actually just 2 gold because he's doing his fucking best too.
Yep. And he takes it over, puts a little mark next to the line he just wrote, and passes over a couple of small keys.
Thank you very much.
Says, I can show way. Down hall to... He kind of looks at the hand for a moment. Right, and holds up his right hand.
Alright.
Does he do the L thing?
It's not so much the L thing as he's trying to figure out, wait, which one is which in common. But he gives a little bit further direction. It's not a windy maze of a place, but it's more like, 3 doors down, left-hand side, and next door as well. And points out which key is which. Each key has a little tag that has a symbol in Draconic on it, possibly a number. and he indicates that is room, that match room.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Let know if you need a drink, food.
Can't just
It's
put
the
the sign up like, yep. Drink
Okay.
that quick.
Alaris also puts his hand up. Yes to both.
I'll pass Kane one of the keys and just go, I'm gonna go set up the room for Alsana when she gets back so we can just pass out if she needs to.
So,
Don't be surprised if she doesn't combine my
Yeah, you boys have fun. I'm just gonna set up the room just in case.
he's looking at Alaris in the meantime. So, how you do with mouth-hot foods?
Kane just has 2 big thumbs ups.
I'm okay with it.
We shall see. Like a challenge?
Yes.
Sure.
Kane like, looks at him like, Szechuan?
He looks over to one of his helpers behind the counter, calls out something in Draconic. There's a response that seems affirmative, and 5 minutes later, there are 2 steaming bowls of some kind of, it looks like a very thick soup, and it is red.
Kane just
steam
looks at
coming up-
Alaris.
The steam coming up hits your nose, and it almost makes your eyes start to prickle.
Kane just turns to Alaris like,
Kane,
better pray to whatever god you follow, because it's gonna be a good meal.
Kane,
Yes.
if I don't make it out of this, tell my wife I love her.
If you don't make it out of this, I'm definitely not making it out of this.
I imagine the steam just like coalesces into like a little, like dragon breathing fire at the 2 of you.
The exact face Kane is making right now because I've seen Connor the exact same one at Hot Pot.
For the exact same color of soup, I imagine, even.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Alright guys, make your con saves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kane just goes like, well, not gonna let this be drawn out, and he's just gonna pick up the bowl and just one gulp. As much as he can.
Yeah, okay, go ahead and make that constitution.
Yeah. Alaris will take a couple sips of it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You're on 12, John.
I am on self.
Ooh,
That's
even
worse.
worse.
The self was 8, if that helps.
The stuff
Yeah.
was 8.
That helps.
Okay, so first off, Ilaris, you kind of take the first sip and you kind of like a little bit. It's not bad actually. There's a lot of complexity to the flavors. It's
This
like
one's
it comes
perfect,
in
so
layers,
doesn't it?
one thing, then another, and you're like, oh, little bits of that. So you take another sip, and that's when the first one hits.
First wave
And it-
hits you.
And it kicks like a mule right in the teeth.
Okay, okay.
Yep. You are desperate for water. Tears are starting to stream down your face.
Alright.
Every breath burns.
Ghost horseradish? Oh my god.
It feels like there's fire up in your sinuses, behind your eyes, and all the way down your throat.
It's wasabi flavored soup, my god.
Yep.
No.
Kane, you pick up the bowl
Wasabi
and
flavored
gulp,
chili.
gulp,
Oh, God.
gulp.
Yep, and as the pain starts to build, he just keeps drinking, hoping to get this done as soon as possible.
You manage to finish the bowl, and then you don't retch. You're not as bad as Alaris, who is kind of bent over the counter, going.
Okay.
But
that was a bad
yours-
idea.
yours comes like a sucker punch to the gut because. Full transparency, because you gulped it, I bumped the DC up slightly into 18 just before you rolled.
That's fair.
You just barely missed it. So you're not handling it with as much grace as you might have, but at the very least, you're upright.
Kane just kind of like looks to the innkeep, just like tears in his eyes and just big thumbs up.
The innkeep laughs and gives a big thumbs up back, and then pours you something into a glass, sets it in front of you, and says, "On house."
Good man.
As for you,
Oh, God.
I think something a little more, and he kind of just gives you what is basically a bowl of milk, ice cold.
Kane just drinks whatever the hell he was just handed and is just pleased about it.
It actually does something to settle the stomach. It doesn't get rid of the burn. It's still there. It lingers, but it kind of clears the way so that flavor comes back. Whatever it is, it seems to complement it fairly well.
Imagine Kane's just like sitting there. You know the gif of the guy just kind of like sitting there with like a neutral face, kind of worried look on, and just the sweat is dripping down.
See, I'm gonna have Kane just like at one point pull out the infinite snowball and just take a bite of it and put it back in his bag.
You take a bite, the ice lingers for about 6 seconds, and then shoop out of your mouth again.
Sweet relief.
Wow,
In
that
the
sucked.
That was delicious,
was
though.
very much not good.
It was so tasty, though.
It was very tasty, but oh man, that's bad.
Don't worry. If you die, I'll bring you to Morticia. At least she'll make you look pretty for the funeral.
Okay.
My wife did tell me that death was not going to get me out of our marriage, so.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
she's dragging you back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In the meantime,
Maybe not
Calda,
for something stupid like this, but
No, she wants you back. It's not a matter of how you died. It's worth having you back for.
Bring you back to life.
We have to get you in a minute, though. That's the problem.
Over to Calda.
Calda, you've gone back to the rooms. You've selected one for yourself and Alsana. You're able to prep it to Alsana's preferences. You've shared tent and room space enough that by now you know that, heaviest blanket over the window. You make sure that the lamps are in places that aren't going to be, like, too much in the way or disruptive, easy to turn off from bed or whatever. You set aside, like, a roll of blanket to stuff in the little cracks around the door that are harder to cover.
We'll sort of just. Yeah.
And as you head back into the main room, I presume, because you haven't eaten yet,
Yes.
you are actually stopped before you can get to the counter by a it seems like a very tall, broadly built dragonborn with kind of a coppery sheen to the scales. Kind of just puts up a hand, just one finger almost, in a wait a moment motion, and beckons you closer.
Okay.
He says, first a little bit of something in Draconic, and then again switches to Common, a little bit better actually than the Innkeep. You're not, pardon, but, you look very much like someone. You would not be, Mjarnakula, the Little Mountain, would you?
Has Calder heard that name before, or is it just like whoosh?
Go ahead and roll a, let's call it history in place of memory.
Okay.
For which you won fucking wrestling.
Yeah, you can't place it. And seeing the confusion, he continues, apologies if I have it wrong, but, it was, at the festival. The champion of the wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Really? It is you?
Yeah.
Oh, it is an honor! And he holds out a massive hand to shake.
We'll give him like firm handshake.
I watched the entire show. You were inspirational.
It was
I
very,
appreciate
very-
it. I really appreciate it.
You have a great many fans. They'd be very interested in meeting you. In fact, he stands up. Attention, everybody!
No.
I love everything about this.
God.
Is this in the same room as Kane and Laris?
Yeah, you notice, this is pretty much right after you've gotten your drinks, you're recovering. And this Dragonborn across the room, halfway across the room, stands up, calls for attention, and announces, we have in our midst a legend.
Uh-oh. I don't like this. Lars turns
love
over to Kane. I don't like where this is going.
I love where this is going.
I do, but I feel like this has something to do with us.
about to get so many free drinks, I hope.
Yeah.
Behold, the champion of the Summer Solstice Festival, the wrestler who knows no bounds and has no match, the Little Mountain.
Kane just whoops.
Like Alaris is like, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, you weren't there for that. She kicked my ass.
There are a number of actual cheers and claps. A few people kind of look like, oh, okay, interesting, but then go back to their business. Others, you see broad grins breaking out. Some people raise mugs with cheers. Another person kind of leans over as they go by and says, "You absolutely showed my brother what for. Well done. He has not shut up about it for weeks."
How many people in the room?
Oh my god! Oh my god! People were like, called a punched me in the face 3 weeks ago. It was awesome.
Thank you.
He's always been a bit of an insufferable prick about how strong he is. Good on you to put him in his place.
I love this town.
Anytime. I appreciate it.
In the room, there might be around a few dozen people, anywhere from 24 to 30 or so. Of those, probably a good dozen at least are enthusiastic in their support and interest. A few of them kind of stop by on their way to or from someplace, just to give you a word of congratulations and tell you you were amazing. I have never seen anything like it. How were you able to put them in that stranglehold?
You know, you gotta utilize the ankle bones. They're very versatile if you know what you're doing. And when you're short, you gotta know what you're doing.
Also, sleeper holds are very effective.
It's all in the ankle bones. And apparently halflings have very long toes for some reason. Apparently those are very good for grip. I don't know.
Be surprised how reliant people are on their knees.
Surprised how
People skip
reliant
ankle day a lot.
they can be on their kneecaps, and then, well, when they get whacked, they get whacked.
Goodness.
There seems to be a younger, younger but still burly built human in the corner, kind of openly taking notes.
Oh no! Let's just start making shit up at
Who
that
wants to be a pro wrestler?
Start making shit up!
Alright, Calda, go ahead and give me a, let's call it just performance in general for,
Just gotta put him in a crossface and never let go.
just for getting on a roll. Oh, you're on a roll.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no, what are you
Lord.
doing?
Oh lordy lord.
Yep.
This-
A man with purple hair walks out.
no. What is this, a
Uh,
crossover episode?
No, it is not. Caius, go back to your own world.
Yes, exactly.
So, in the course of like an hour, you wax eloquent on the art and technique of not just wrestling, but also like bare knuckle boxing, a little bit of martial arts, a little bit of swordsmanship.
I'm just gonna
And,
show you a little hold here.
Yep. You arm wrestle and beat like 3 different people who just wanted the experience. You get a number of free drinks, whether you imbibe them or not is up to you.
We get shared with the guys.
All right, good. You spread it out a little bit, so you're not totally hammered in that amount of time.
Kane
Yeah.
volunteers
Well,
to be used as like
oh,
a target, basically. It's like, yeah, we want to hook the knee and just like go with whatever the hell Calda says and just pretend like it works.
I'm gonna show you all a little hold here. I just
Okay,
Kane
just
just
circum-
ungodly
you, right?
screaming.
Hey, you, random person in the bar, pointing at Kate.
It just goes like, me?
Yeah, random person in the bar, come on.
He stands up full plate armor and walks over like, are you the Little Mountain? I've heard much about you.
Let me show you how it's done, buddy.
Okay,
Alaris is watching from the bar, disappointed.
Kane will just like remove his like the top half of his plate armor as much as he
Oh
can.
no
just,
no
like,
no no no
yeah,
no no
yes,
no! You keep that shit on.
Okay,
Call this drunk.
he'll tie it back on.
Kane's my little test dummy.
I'm gonna show you a little.
Kane is the littler mountain.
Yes.
I'm gonna show you a little and just pick him up and slam.
Kane is the big hill. She's the little mountain.
Just twist this. Just twist this joint here. Oh my
I
god!
get it, I
Oh
get
my
it.
god!
Well, you
You
break
gotta
the
get-
finger, then you break the wrist, then you break the elbow, then you break the shoulder, and then you break the.
Silver money clip with a $50 bill in it, and you throw it and you go fetch.
And exit out.
Fetch.
Oh. All right. That would probably be about your evening.
Kane has as much fun with it as he can.
All right. And in the meantime, whoops. Yeah, that would have been appropriate music for all that. Ah,
Get some
Right.
smooth jazz because Alsana's on a date.
I don't have any smooth jazz, so
For shame.
It's supposed to be
for
like, wait, quick,
shame, I know.
like, wait, quick, let me
What does
grab an
this sound
instrument.
like? It's a little more solemn than I'm after, but
He's tying in a serenade us while we do this.
I don't have a saxophone. I only have my mouth trumpet.
I mean the theme fits the do.
That is
Yeah.
true. You could play like metal music and it would kind of fit these two.
Yeah. See, I only have my mouth trumpet. That's the only blaring instrument I have, and unfortunately, that's not very nice, smooth jazz.
yeah. That's all right.
I'm not doing that noise on recording.
All right. So, Alsana, having cleared up and having no idea of the chaos that is occurring just down the street,
Just having a nice walk with no slamming people through tables.
It's a shame. Past time.
it's a nice stroll. Morticia pretty much says, "Have you ever been up to?" As I desperately rack my head for a freaking name for
You walked
places.
into that on your own.
I did. God damn it! I'm a good DM.
Brass goblet.
Scared.
It's okay. I just had a thing of like I didn't ask you for a name or anything. I didn't say, hey, can I go find a restaurant or something? You're just like, hey, have you heard of?
Yeah, I did that on my own. I really did.
Brass goblet, the silver plate, the golden fork.
What a great way to do it. It really is.
Well, depending on the kind of quality restaurant you're going for, you gotta go brass, silver,
Platinum
Oh,
spork.
oh the platinum knife. Excuse you.
I desperately want for there to be some place called the Platinum Spork someday. Not in this game.
The platinum skewer.
Uh,
Have I heard of what exactly?
yes. Screw you.
Does Morticia get tongue tied?
It's It's my fault. It really is. Let's see. There we go. There we go. She asks if you've ever been up to the glass house.
She thinks for a second. Goes, I've been in greenhouses before, but I'm going to assume this is a particular place.
It is a particular place, and it's also actually remarkably similar to a greenhouse.
Really?
It's actually more of a venue of food and drink and a little entertainment, but it has a bit of theming happening that I think you will greatly appreciate.
She kind of like almost like not stutters, but like there's a quick like shoot across her face of like it's like a dining and yeah, the implication is like a date place almost. It's like, yeah, I'm guessing, yeah, yeah, that sounds like something I enjoy.
Wingman
Wait till we get-
Supreme!
You'll see. Oh, and don't worry, it's not terribly fancy, so we're fine just as we are.
Oh, okay. I've
I think I saw a little bit of panic.
uh, just a bit. She just kind of like checks herself and pats herself out a bit, just to make sure she's clean from recent goings on.
You look fine. Now come on, I think you'll enjoy this. And she leads you through the streets, kind of talking about this and that along the way, and sharing little anecdotes about things brought into her. Anything from rumor of, so and so recently died, and it was a little bit of an accident, and a bit tragic, really, to. And then this little girl from down the street starts asking me questions about what happens to the bodies afterwards, and of course I can't tell her everything. But next thing I know, she's trying to hold a mock funeral for this little bug that she'd found on the side of the road that was squished, and
Oh, poor dear.
until you guys come upon a structure that is a little bit on the nicer side. It's not built like an inn or tavern, but it is surrounded by plants. And you can see the peak of the glass roof gleaming in the starlight. And the front of the building isn't glass itself. It's actually built mostly of stone. But you go in through the front door, and you see the entire place. It does have a bar, it does have a stage, it has a number of round tables scattered throughout, but in between and surrounding all of these, underneath the glass roof and half-paned glass walls, are just plants. Some are in pots, sitting on the floor. Others seem to be planted directly into the ground, with stone pathways winding through them and forming little islands almost around the tables. None of the plants in the center are very tall for the most part. In the middle, it's very low grasses, flowers, short clipped shrubs, so that nothing has. There is from any table an uninterrupted view of the stage area. But closer to the walls, you see plants that are much taller, trees, hedge-type plants, those sorts of things, kind of allowed to grow up towards the ceiling, the roof.
Also, I was just like staring around the whole room with like stars in her eyes.
There's a pathway we can take that is almost a tour of a garden inside. It's a little bit more towards the back. Anything around the tables are relatively common. If you want to see anything particularly fun, it would be back there. Little plaques on them. There's even one or two more unusual, even dangerous plants, though those are, of course, kept in mesh cages so nobody can actually get to them or
Oh yes, fun.
get
That's
into
good.
them. So, a little bit of a walk through there first, and then we'll go and get our food and a table, and
I think that sounds wonderful. She's still like also staring around at everything. Just, how did you come across a place like this?
I was actually told about it. You hear things, you get into conversations out in market, and, well, I mentioned that I knew somebody who quite liked the botanical arts. Honestly, the wilder the better. And somebody mentioned, oh, have they ever been here? And I said, I don't think so, but I'd be glad to find out. Where is it? And So I came by and took a look at the place on my own a few days ago, and, well, what luck that you turn up now.
I think you were spot on. This is great.
I'm very glad to know. Come on, let's take a look at some of these. Honestly, I don't know what half of them could do.
I might be able to give some insight. We'll see.
I'd be happy for that.
They don't
And
have anything fake.
Well, I suppose there are clearly labeled as such silken renditions of very exotic things that cannot grow here even in these controlled environments.
All right.
But again, they're clearly labeled as such. They're not trying to fool you. It's educational.
All right. And she's going to start walking around looking at everything, nature checks all day.
You go ahead and give 3 just off the wall ones for the general.
All right. And if anything catches her eye in particular, she'll do a guidance, but otherwise she's just kind of looking around.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah,
19, 23,
you're able-
22.
You're able to recognize and talk through just about everything you see on site alone. Maybe there's 1 or 2 things that you don't fully recognize, like as it is, but then you go and look at the plaque and you recognize the name and go, "Oh, I've read about that one actually. I've seen an illustration of it in a book." And there are, among the more mundane sorts of things, there are a number of curiosities. There is actually a small sapling of silverbark, for instance. There is, quite obvious to you with your experience, there is actually lantern vines strung on trellises and providing kind of natural light throughout this area for the most part. But they have an entire array of colors, including a very rare white lantern vine off in one corner. Here and there you spot something that, yes, is behind a mesh cage and definitely should be kept well off the path and out of reach beyond like the little posts and chains that mark it and keep people from like stepping off into the soil. Things that might be a little bit caustic to touch. You see Dittany in there. You see a couple of things that are the equivalent of a poison ivy, where it's not going to be pleasant if you actually get your fingers all over it. You see a couple of other plants that could be dangerous if treated badly and are kept in cages, but aren't dangerous like just to touch or be around and are just fine otherwise.
At a point, she either goes and just, oh, nettle. Keeps walking.
You also spot a little cage kind of tucked away in the back of dusk bells.
Oh, really?
That are kept out of the way. Yes. The plaque kind of explains what they are and just a little blurb about them being controlled substance, basically. But for the sake of education, here they are, and here is about what they do.
I'm surprised they got the clearance for this. I don't know, maybe just the city doesn't know, but these are usually pretty regulated.
Oh, quite a few things are, I believe. From what you were describing about the more poisonous ones, for instance, I can't imagine that... Well, I can't imagine that would be something you'd want growing in any back garden.
Right, it's just the... kind of puts her face back and forth. It's... They have this more nefarious use that are much more bannable, I suppose. This allows any other magics to bring someone back if it's placed with a body that's recently deceased. I'm sure you're mainly used to dealing with things that are staying dead, but...
Oh, typically, though there was this one case of mistaken...
There's a smile that goes across her face. Please, come on.
And as you complete the circuit of the garden, she tells you about the one time where a guy was actually mistaken as being dead, but really he'd just. It was a little bit of a medical thing, it was a little bit of he got into the wrong stuff thing, but he gave off all appearances of being dead right up until Morticia had him on the slab and was covering him with the sheet, and then he sat up and asked what time it was.
Oh, and I'm guessing you just gave him the time, as any good person would, and didn't scream.
Of course I didn't scream. I did, however, give him a very sharp rap upon the forehead with the tool I happened to be holding. It was only a measuring stick, don't worry. However, he promptly fell backwards and, well, he was fine. Had a little bit of a lump. But fine.
Well,
was-
more than fine, apparently.
It was interesting, actually seeing one of my, well, subjects walk out the door.
I suppose you don't get that too often.
Not terribly, no. That was definitely unique.
Shingster's like, you said before, you couldn't exactly tell that little girl all the details. How early did you start this profession?
Oh, I think I might have been, 17?
Oh, okay.
Newly left home, moved to the big city, took on apprenticeship, and, well, here I am now.
Oh.
What have you?
Guessing there was interest in it beforehand?
A little bit. I'd already been helping with the various necessary rites and preparations back home. This was just a different place.
She nods. As for me, I was. She thinks. I think I was around 19. My brother had recently left the house, and, well, with just me around, I wasn't keen on staying there much. So I headed out and made a few stops before eventually settling for a bit in the Greenwater Wood and later Verivel. I suppose I apprenticed in my own way. Are you aware of the druids that reside in the woods?
Well, seeing as you introduced me to them not too long ago.
Okay, that's the player arm. That's my bad.
Yes.
That's
So-
my stupid player.
Yep, we can happily roll that back a little bit because it's not been so long for Alsana and she would know and remember.
Yep. It's like, yes. Well, you're aware of them. I guess I started up after I had a little bit of magic to me, and she kind of like, if they're sitting and eating or had with drinks or anything, she'll just like swirl her finger in her drink and freeze it a bit.
Mhm.
I showed a bit of promise from a bit of a younger age, and wanted to, well, learn more. I'd read books and stories and research and the like about magic. Honestly, I'm sure in a different life I could have gone to be a wizard who goes about studying everything, but nature was tied to me as well.
It's good to find the thing that you feel right doing.
Yes, I'd say so. I'm sorry, I'm Shakespeare. I had a long day. Rubs her face and.
Don't worry, I won't keep you out too late.
Oh no, it's not that. It's just you'll excuse if I'm a bit scatterbrained at the time. What do we want to get to eat?
Well, I've never actually eaten here. I've only ever looked about, but well, this looks good. And she kind of shows you the little board, almost a menu but permanent, not permanent, smaller, I guess. Yeah, it's like a little plaque of chalkboard on
Okay.
each table that's filled out. And you guys can put in your orders, have something to eat, enjoy the music that's put on. It's not the raucous, lively melody of a tavern or anything of the sort. It's almost more symphonic.
That fits with her.
You have a lovely evening out. And when you kind of walk back towards the shop and find the note left by Calda, do you read Dechronic?
She does not, but
Okay.
she will.
All right.
Threatening.
Actually, Morticia looks at it and says, "Oh, the jingling jester. That's not too far."
Oh, you know Draconic.
Well, it's a rather useful skill in a city where that is the main language.
She thinks for a sec. I might ask you for lessons one day. That's one of the ones I didn't have a lot of time to get into, but I certainly had an interest in.
Well, I will be happy to get you started, though you might need to make a little bit more time than an evening here or there.
Oh yes, I mean in the future once things have settled down, I suppose. If I find myself a bit less busy.
Well, in the future then. Speaking of, would you be staying here? I have the room.
She kind of like starts for a second. It's like, I mean, if you'd have me.
Of course. Though if your friends are expecting you, I wouldn't want to make them worry.
I can send a message their way.
Hmm.
Do you get pigeons around here very often?
Oh, distressingly so. Look at any statue, you'll find one. Perhaps not this time of night, though.
I'm sure I can find something.
She opens the door back up and
Find
lets
somebody
you in.
nice.
Take a step in.
So,
Just kind of almost like takes a breath in and is like, I actually have come to very much enjoy the odd smell this place has.
I hardly notice it, honestly.
I'd imagine not after a
So
while.
long in business.
Now, there's a few things I'd want to catch you up on that, I feel the only reason you'd believe me about them is because of what I've just brought you this day.
Oh, by all means, tell me how you found two Nagas of all things.
Small smirk on her face. All right, but you can't think I'm crazy and you can't be mad at me for it. We trekked into the Howling Plains.
Ah, well. Seeing as you brought two dead Nagas back, then, who am I to doubt? Also, honestly, if anybody was going to, it was going to be you and your friends. From what I've heard, things you've told me, of course it was.
Jin nods, just, things were leading there, and so we were led there. We've also were looking specifically for a long-lost, civilization within those plains.
She holds up a hand and says, "We might need a nightcap for this. Follow me." And she just leads you back into her little living area, kitchenette area, and sits you down, gives you a little bit of a drink, takes one herself, and lets you tell her everything that you might want to.
And near the end she goes, so I come to perhaps have a small added to the list of projects I'd like to do in the future. Perhaps remove the undeath from that area.
You never do things halfway, do you?
I mean, if it's something worth being interested in. Oh, one other thing. Have you ever wanted a, I mean, we've brought you quite a bit of stuff in it. I imagine it takes up a bit of room. Have you ever thought of perhaps expanding your, building here?
Well, I am rather hemmed in on both sides, and I don't believe any of my neighbors are interested in selling. So unless you are speaking of a magical expansion or one that goes upwards,
There's a grin on her face, and she'll pull out the key.
all right. We'll go ahead and leave that there because I assume that you just tell her all of
Yep.
that and she cannot disbelieve you at this point.
Yep, just having fun with that, and also just go. So if you ever need a bit of extra space, I could probably leave this with you for a bit. But up to you. And she will, if she can, later on, try to find a pigeon or some sort of bird.
Night has fully fallen by now. They've all kind of gone to roost. However, I will remind you that you guys have a paired magic item.
You're right.
Yeah, Lars
Alsana
probably
typically
the
has one, and yeah, Alaris typically has the other.
Alright. Player brain, no good.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was that.
Yep, she'll pull out the sending stone and just give it a tap and go. I think I'm going to be staying at Morticia's tonight. If you need anything from me, let me know. Try to not get in too much trouble without me there, okay?
gather that. I'll call if anything. Your assistance.
Okay.
Eloquent.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I imagine everybody gets to their respective rooms, gets their long rests. Calda,
Kane
you
picks up
you
the
may or
sword
may
neck.
not notice. Kane, there's going to be just one moment here.
Okay.
Calda, I imagine that you may or may not notice if Alsana comes in, depending on if you fall asleep waiting for her or not.
Calder fell asleep and forgot.
Okay. So you don't quite realize just yet, but I assume Alaris informed Kane at the very least, if they were back in the room that they are sharing, so.
Yeah.
So, everybody gets some rest, but first, Kane. As you were sleeping,
Uh-oh.
If this is gonna be the second time I shit myself.
This is an uh-oh moment, bro.
you're having a kind of that wacky, standard, crazy sort of dream where things don't necessarily make sense, except that the dream insists that they do. You're out walking, and you think you're walking in Windsor, but for some reason Windsor is in the Howling Plains, or is the Howling Plains. It's kind of a weird, muddled concept in the dream. But you're out taking a stroll, and you kind of gradually realize, oh, wait, I don't know where my friends are. Where are my friends? They're not here. You start to look for them. You have an inkling that, maybe Calda's over there. You start heading that way, but you don't find Calda. Instead, you find like a talking fish instead that's in a pond of water that's there for no reason. It kind of goes on like that for a while. Until you occasionally start to come across people that you have met, people that you do know. You meet up with Vola, the orc from the orc that captained that group that you hunted alongside. You kind of talk with her, but she's not able to tell you where anybody is, and so you kind of keep on walking. She's there one moment, gone the next. You see Roy at one point, but you kind of nope and head the other direction deliberately.
Good, even Dream Brain is logical.
Some things go deep into the mind. And then you pass by this rock formation. But as you pass it, you think you see it move out of the corner of your eye. And you turn around, and you see the hag sitting there, Nettle. And she looks around, she looks at you, and she says, "Nice place you got here."
Could do some redecorating personally, but
Oh,
Can't
I
complain too
fully
much.
agree. And she snaps her fingers, and the entire jumbled, nonsensical landscape of the dream suddenly turns into a rocky plain with sudden cliffs and crags bursting out of the ground and dropping into chasms. That's much better.
getting that, you can make a killing with how fast you turn about home.
Oh, if only I could do it in reality. Unfortunately, the old tower is giving me a little bit more trouble.
For now, while we're in Dreamland, you can make a killing here, and it's almost as good as being awake and doing it now.
Yes, indeed. Any requests? I'm not great at the dream shaping thing, but I can turn my hand to it if need be.
Just shrugs.
Well, we'll stick with this then. I'm comfortable in it at least. So, you are the, what was it? The half-brother of the one who, helped me out of my little predicament.
Oh, that's why you seem familiar.
Ah, did you forget me already? I'm wounded.
I mean, my dreams, I don't usually remember things very well, and I get hit in the head a lot.
Ah.
I was also plowed through 6 tables today.
Well, if it helps any, I can guarantee you will remember this dream with perfect clarity.
But
It
if
is
you were
rather
just
how it works.
if you're a figment of my dream, though, that's not really pressing guarantee.
Figment. Ah, no. No, my boy, I'm no figment.
Oh, is this some weird magic bullshit?
Quite. Speaking of which, and she kind of crooks a finger, and the rock beneath you kind of does a little heave, and then catches you, and forms a little chair for you. Have a seat.
Just,
Honestly,
like,
you
sit on it and just like, I was having such a good sleep. I had such a good dinner. Am I gonna wake up tired now?
shouldn't. At least not in my understanding of how this works. You should be perfectly refreshed. Unless I turn it into a nightmare, but I'm already committed to this. Why would I bother? So, your sister.
I mean, don't let her hear you calling her that, but yes.
Touchy subject. Noted.
Actually, now I think about it, no, absolutely do call me that around her.
Hmm.
It would infuriate her.
The young witch.
Yes.
A little bit of a curiosity, but does she have something that, prevents this sort of contact?
I know. I swing swords.
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw the old resident of her house. I kind of like cut her in half.
Well, I didn't really see so much as sense, being in a book at the time, and then, of course,
Think
the
like a
body got
dartboard.
reformed.
But you throw swords.
Charming. Very effective, too. I should
More than I
get
thought
a
it'd be.
dartboard.
You should. I hear it actually makes some wonderful ones out up north of Glistening Forests.
I wonder if I could enchant the darts to fly on their own.
That ruins the fun.
Oh no, it increases the fun, honestly.
Depending who you're playing against, I guess.
Depending on how creative you get.
So true.
Regardless. Well, really, it was just a little bit of a curiosity. I tried to get in contact and had a little bit of trouble.
Does it require sleep? I hear something about elves not sleeping. Maybe half elves are the same way.
Not in my experience, but she could be quite unusual, and we didn't exactly discuss sleeping patterns.
I can guarantee
So-
it's unusual, but moving on.
So, I was going to have a little conversation, but you'll do. You can pass on anything that needs to be passed on, I imagine.
If I do remember
Shall
it,
I
in fact, we
imagine?
can say I do. Yes.
Oh, you will remember with perfect clarity, trust me.
Oh, not because of the sleep thing. I just have a terrible memory.
I could probably do something to fix that for you, you know. I wouldn't do it for free in charity, and I'm trying to get back into business,
Knowing
as
me,
it
I'd
were,
hit the
but
head again. I would undo the enchantment or whatever it does.
there are workarounds. If you'd like me to start workshopping anything next time you come by.
I'm not much of a traveler. But you said you had a message for the witch.
Not much of a traveler, you say.
This is enforced travel.
Do me a favor and don't lie.
Oh, I'm just not enforced. Sorry, not a long distance travel like this. I travel off in a very small area, like running a marathon 3x3 room. Typically. This is a strange time for me.
I imagine. You did go north very quickly. Little,
I'm mildly concerned that you're able to figure that out that quickly, but yes.
I have my ways.
That's why I'm concerned.
Though sadly, I don't yet have a mortar, a pestle, or a butter churn. It seems that the little upstart threw them out. Can you believe it? I am this close to jury rigging something with the cauldron. Terrible waste of a thing, but I do what I must. Anyway.
If you have a turtle somewhere, you can take the turtle shell as the pestle, the mortar, and then a long enough stone or a simple rock to grind it. So we used to do in swamps.
Interesting. I'd have to resize the mortar and pestle, but it does seem.
Some say the
doable.
powers of turtles and tortoises, they lead to extra life too, so maybe it's even helpful.
I'll look into it. Swamp isn't too far. It'd be essentially a day. Oh no, it wouldn't be a day trip. That was when I had my butter churn. Could be a bit longer.
Alright, you had a flying butter
Anyway,
Anyways.
well, honestly, if you happen to come
You have
across any,
priorities. I'm sure you'd like to get to
Yes.
sleep soon.
yes, if you happen to come across any little bits and bobs in such a thing and such a way, and you want to bring them by, I may be able to compensate. Little favors of magic, curses, cures,
Hold on, is this the part I'm supposed to remember for Alsana?
in general. In
Okay.
general. Mostly I just wanted to chat. It's been a while.
Fair enough.
But yes, that was the stated purpose of this conversation and this contact. I suppose you wouldn't be in the market for any curses or anything of the like.
No, I'm pretty good at cursing.
Hmm.
I
Well,
can do it in 2 languages, but you know.
Ah,
Yet.
That kind of cursing.
a reasonable form. But have you ever considered the ability to make somebody's face erupt in boils and warts that spell out a creative name?
No, I usually just throw a sword through the face if they're that much of a nuisance.
No satisfaction in the sword. It's over too quickly.
That's what you think. It's a really good throw. Been riding that like emotional high for days.
To each their own, I suppose. But if you happen to see your sister in the morning, or as you wish, could you let her know that I'd like to be in contact if she could lift whatever little protection she has on herself that prevents this? Or if
Long
she'd
as-
like to just take a nap the next night, assuming she doesn't.
Pretty funny if she just wasn't sleeping right now. Oh god, that's a horrible thought. Sorry.
No, I can tell when somebody is not sleeping. This was more like running into a wall.
Something rather painful.
Not exactly. Imagine if it was a wall of slightly stretchy netting. You just sort of bounced off. No pain, but a little discombobulation.
Especially if you didn't see it there. Like a big, powerful spider web almost.
Almost. Almost.
But I'll let her know. But if she doesn't agree, don't blame me. She's moody.
Well, I have other ways. No great matter. This is just the way that would allow a face-to-face conversation, perhaps a little bit of a longer one, more complex. How do you feel about spiders?
Depends on the context.
I mean, is there a context needed?
Yes.
Hmm.
If I find one inside my boot that has a rather nasty sting, not too pleased with them, and I will often squish them. And if they're hanging around getting rid of mosquitoes, they're quite pleasant to have around.
Only I found some interesting ones in the tower. They've been taking some retraining, though. Would you like to see some? She gestures with a hand, and as she opens her hand, you see almost a spring of spiders bubbling up from the palm and crawling, dropping onto the ground.
Almost,
Friendly little things, really.
so many it looks like a wave.
Hmm.
Can you do that with any insect? You said you control the whole visuals of this, right?
Oh, I can do many things
How
in
about
this
centipedes?
place. She waves a hand, and the spiders vanish, and centipedes start to crawl across the rock.
Can we be sitting on a giant centipede?
She waves a hand, and it is so. You are kind of lifted up into the air on the back of this gigantic insect. You kind of have to scrabble a little bit across the smooth plating in order to get a hold, as it tips its head and almost threatens to throw you off.
He's going to immediately start counting the legs on one side.
Go ahead and roll investigation, actually.
Alright. Because Kane is still drunk from the night before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like this.
You get to about 60 something, and then you go, oh wait, I think I missed one.
More than 100. Why are they called centipedes?
Couldn't begin to tell you. Marvelous creatures, though. Terrible venom.
Yes. Oh man. Also really good for if you have little bugs around, or even like sometimes larger small mammals like rats, if they're big enough. Really good pest control. Yeah, some would argue this is a more terrifying pest, but teach their own.
Intriguing. If you can get me a jar of centipedes.
I am not going anywhere near enough centipedes to be in a jar.
Oh, at least a few, at least for the chance of, procreation, expansion
Telling me
of
a
the
hag
colony.
of your strength couldn't gather some centipedes if she so wished.
Oh, I probably could, but I have quite a few things to gather, and if you happen to get there first, and if I happened to, want some, there could be something in it for you.
If I happen to come across a jar of centipedes, I will send them your way.
Much appreciated. That's a deal. So, I've got you.
what's it like not being in a book anymore? You're just gonna sit down in the chair and just have a casual conversation with her.
Liberating. Though things have changed a great deal, of course. I've got to catch up on so much. And rebuild and clean and... well, clean.
Can't imagine summer cleaning for that is any kind of fun.
She did mess up everything for me. I had things in just the right state of disarray.
Rather like a sister or a parent coming into a room and move everything.
I wouldn't... well, I suppose rather like that. I wouldn't call her a sister by any means, though.
I thought you
Tart.
folks had covens or something like.
That is an agreement between equals.
Well, seeing as you are notably unsorted through the face, I take it you are greater than her.
Notably. If she hadn't pulled that dirty little trick, I would have had her in the form of a frog and stuck in a little bog for the rest of her miserable existence.
Are you sure you're not sisters? Because I think about my sister the exact same way. At least when I was younger.
Right. Would you like to be a frog?
No, I think I've been a goat once. It was unpleasant.
Interesting. Well, if there's anything you would like to be, do let me know. I can make some changes.
Can I be awake?
Well, I suppose if you insist. She waves a hand, and the dream vanishes. You wake
Kate
up.
just sits up in the bed like, oh, I gotta stop drinking before bed. Just goes back to sleep.
And when you wake up in the morning, you wake up with the perfect knowledge and clarity that that was not an actual dream. It was all real. And you can recall every word that was spoken.
It's just kind of sighs and like rolls over the bed and goes, Alaris,
Yeah.
I hear my sister come back last night.
Did I?
You didn't, but
Well, she
could have been
did
after you fell
say-
asleep.
Yeah, she did say, and then I already relayed the information about Morticia, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah,
I was drunk.
she's with Morticia.
I'm gonna take a bath. You want to join? I'm sure there's a public bath somewhere around here.
You almost gave me a heart attack there, kid. I don't deal with anyone other than my wife. And then he's gonna go back to
Oh.
bed.
You're old. No, don't worry. Also, not my type. Too much of a beard.
Calder, you wake up. There is no Alsana.
Fuck. Good thing I forgot about the door. She would have been pissed. Again, Calder will just make the bed. Just do up Alsana's bed a little bit because she was reaching on the blankets to get all that de-Alsanify the room. Just go out down for breakfast so she can meet up with.
Okay, and I'll just like see her and just be like, no Alsana?
Not that I know of, unless she woke up before me and broke into the room and no, it's not.
Sure, already has breakfast, but I'm gonna take mine to go. I'll be delivering a message, apparently.
Ooh, what kind of message? Fun little note, little secret?
No, the hag popped into my dreams and apparently is trying to strike a running agreement with her.
Not a fan of that, but her choice. In the
Okay.
end,
If anyone can talk circles around a hag, it's her.
yeah, she can talk her ear off, and it'd be a very good talking her ear off. It should be great.
I'm sure a hag can grow exteriors if she needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you
Exactly.
work get a jar of centipedes?
Excuse me?
I can get a jar of centipedes.
It could be a magic thing. We could go to a magic shop or something.
Oh, that's why she might have wanted it. Okay. Innkeep? He just like waves down the innkeep and tries to get breakfast to go.
Yep, you're able to get a something you can eat as you walk.
It'll-
You get the keys
Hey,
returned.
some cheese food.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna walk over to Morticia's and
Yeah.
see if it's open, basically, the store yet.
The store itself is not yet open. However, soon after you arrive, you see Morticia poke her head out the a little door to the side that leads more directly into her living area. I saw you through the window. Come in.
She's still here?
Yes. We're
I'll
having
bother you.
breakfast.
Perfect. I won't bother you too long, just a message for her.
Alsana,
Fancy magics like you guys do.
Yes.
your friends are here. There's a message for you.
Oh, 1 second. She kind of walks down, probably still in her pajamas, like beating her hair with one hand. Yes, what is
Kate
it?
just like leans into the window like, hey, Nettles was sent me a little dream message last night.
I'm sorry, what?
Apparently, Nettles, the hag that I didn't throw a sword through.
Nettie, and why was she contacting you?
Apparently, because she couldn't contact you.
She couldn't contact me.
Yeah, she tried to apparently talk to you through a dream and it didn't work. So she's asking you to undo whatever enchantment caused that.
Why
she
didn't
can.
it work?
I don't know, man. Something about a spider web wall. I don't know.
Sing for a sec.
What?
Oh. Anything else? Anything else mentioned by her?
Yeah, if you want to like ever just bring by knickknacks or favors, she's willing to have a running negotiation with you.
Okay, can you tell me exactly what she said? How about that?
I can do my best, but I was very drunk.
Quote the GM you remember with perfect clarity.
I know, but Kane is not certain that. See, Kane is not certain it's perfect clarity because he's used to not remembering things very well.
Alright, so I assume she
Or
also
quote as much as he can, and just be like, yeah, it got out of, we got distracted. But, you know.
So she... And she said she has spiders there?
Yeah.
Apparently once she's retraining.
Also, do you know where I can get a jar of centipedes?
Not particularly.
Do you think you can convince some centipedes to walk into a jar?
I could bring her a large amount of centipedes if she needed to.
Could you say it's from me though?
No.
No.
That's a wonder. I might be jumping here. I'm tempted to even tell you because I doubt you would be able to keep it to yourself if she comes in contact with you again.
I mean, yeah, I already told Calda. So.
No, as in what I'm thinking.
I mean, if she contacts me again, it's gonna be through extreme circumstance. So.
Just think for a sec. I don't exactly want to.
This with her?
This is it's a messy situation. It's certainly not one I was intending to be in.
Makes sense. She's kind of creepy.
She doesn't seem unreasonable, but that's... Yes, also that.
Also, she knows where we are.
She knows where we are.
She knows we went north very quickly.
She pulls it out. Probably this. She turns the metal tooth in her fingers.
Alright, fair enough, as long as you know why.
Here's the thing. I need to... Morticia,
Yes?
do you know a shop specializing in magic nearby? Magical appraiser?
Well, I mean, there's always people from the college that are looking to hone their skills. Are you looking for somebody with Identify, or?
Yes.
Yes, I would probably try the college.
Alright. Might do that today, then.
So the trip to Soren's Blade, then?
I don't know. I need to think. I need to find some things out.
Alright. Do you want a spare hand, or?
No, I think I'll be okay on my own.
Oh.
If you have any other business you'd like to take care of in town, now would be a good time to do it.
Favored stomping grounds, but I'll see if there's anything I can take my time with.
If we can head our way back to Soren, I would like to. But even so, just...
Oh. You know the inn we're staying at, right?
Yes, I do now.
If you get there and it's like evening, I recommend their soup. It's fantastic.
Inside check.
Kane.
He's being completely honest. He fucking loved that soup.
Yeah, Kane's like a slight little ditzy boy.
You know, he likes it. He was greatly enjoyed the soup. He was not lying.
What does everyone else's face in the room say?
Elaris's face says pain, probably, I would assume.
Oh, did Lars come with? I thought it was just Kane.
Oh, I thought everybody was there. It's up to you guys.
I heard Golden
Yeah,
Lars talking up
yeah.
to this point, so I assume...
What? I was doing my beautiful chat commentary.
I took that as out of character stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Peanut gallery.
Oh no, that's no. I do the /em if it's in character. This is just me saying shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Wait, they eat children? I do this.
She shrugs and goes, I, whatever. Yeah, I need to check I just need to check some things. That's all.
What is she? Have a good morning. Also, I'll see you at some point. Worst case scenario, meet at sunset at the end. If not, we'll figure it out from there.
Sure. I can
Kane is
talk.
gonna walk in a random direction and see what takes him.
If you don't hear me if she yells after, if you don't hear from me for a while, check with Olaris. He has the stone.
Oh, makes more sense than a pigeon. Sounds good.
Like turns back to Morticia. Sorry about that.
Idiot.
I find,
Well-
I find myself in a bit of something. I'm not sure.
Your life is always interesting. Coffee?
Please.
All right. And you're able to get a good breakfast, coffee and everything. After that, what does everybody want to do with the day? Honestly, what does everybody want to do with the week? Because you guys have quite a bit of time before you need
yeah.
to be back.
Are we going to Sword at a point, boys? Will we-
Yeah, Ilaris wants to head back to Walton.
All right, so first, let's go day one, probably in Windsor. What are we doing here?
Alsana wants to head to the mages for Identify.
Okay. All right, so you head over to the Crystalline Spires. You're able to get in contact with some people who are like, yeah, we have a few first level students of wizardry who are looking to practice. They don't have a lot of spell slots, but we provide the materials that have cost, and well, it's a good exercise in seeing how well they can read and transcribe magical items. So if you'd be willing to sit in on a lesson and volunteer a few things.
I certainly have some interesting things, so I think that could work. Though, if I needed something with a much clearer, if they have trouble with it, could I find someone with a better hold on it? I don't doubt them. It's just if there's maybe one that I stumble across or stumble upon or something.
Possibly. Honestly, it depends on the object. We aren't going to spend spell slots on any old trinket, but if something seems interesting, it may go up the line, as it were.
Okay.
So, you spend about an hour sitting in on a class. There's like one or two other people who brought in a thing here or a thing there, none close to the volume of what you have. Honestly, with the size of the class and everything, and other things being identified and so on, you might be able to get, let's say, roll 3d4.
All right.
You're able to get 10 things of your choice, or up to 10 things of your choice identified.
Oh boy.
So, what would you like an identified spell cast on?
Let's start easy. The black wax candle.
Okay. The person who is looking over this kind of casts Identify and then pauses and looks confused for a second. But dutifully, like, writes something down after a moment of hesitation. Let me scroll to where that is. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, right. It's here. As I, heckity. There it is. I forgot I had some of these in a slightly different place.
All right.
All right. Actually, it's not so much hesitation. It's fairly straightforward as an enchantment, despite coming from a hag's place. Write something out, and instead of like titling the top of the paper with a name of a known and studied magic item, he just kind of writes dark candle ? Basically, as an action, you pinch the wick of the candle, which then casts darkness in a 15-foot sphere centered on itself. The candle may be snuffed as another action, and as a cumulative 1 hour burn time. About 15 minutes have already been used.
So that'd be 45 minutes out of an hour.
Yep. Action to start, action to stop. 15-foot sphere of darkness centered on the candle itself.
Cast darkness on-
Technically, the darkness goes with any other rules. So if you like put the candle in a bag, then like cover it completely, the darkness will go away.
Okay.
However, aside from that, yeah, it is kind of a condensed, modified darkness spell in a magic item.
Since she has so many of these, she's going to next do the Silver Bell.
All right. Silver Bell, rung as an action, casts Toll the Dead on one creature within 60 feet. DC 14 Wisdom saving throw. And it's 2d8 or 2d12 necrotic damage, with, unusually, half damage on a success despite coming from a cantrip.
Oh.
It can be used freely once per day. However, every time it's used after that within the same day, it gains a cumulative 10% chance of shattering and dealing 2d10 necrotic damage to the wielder. This damage cannot be resisted or avoided.
Cumulative 10% shatter chance if used after that. So is the 10% shatter chance like any time it's used?
Yep. So you use it once and it's fine. You use it a second time and you roll a d10. If it's on a 1, it fails. If you use it a third time, that chance goes up from a 1 to a 2.
Okay, but the next day.
The next day it resets.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, if it's like the crack stays forever or what. But okay.
Nope.
All right. Next, she's going to go. My apologies for this one, but I mean, bear with me. And she says, like with a half smile to the student.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to put out the hag's tooth.
Ah, the tooth. All right. So, the student looks really confused and kind of keeps glancing up at you like, who are you and where are you getting these things? Did I write that down? Oh, no, I did not write that down. All right, if you want exact details, I'm going to have to look them up. Because I remember a ballpark of what it does. I don't remember, like,
Should I just look up
numbers.
Anishag?
Let me look it up here. I want to say it's Mordenkainen's.
Tell you
Maybe
what,
it isn't. Is it?
So, otherwise it's Xanathar's.
I'm not seeing Anishag and Mordenkainen's
It's under
here.
hags, I think.
Hold on, I'll check Donjon.
All right.
I have the face stuff still up, so.
Yeah.
I found it.
Where is it?
It is 159.
In Mordenkainen's?
Oh no, sorry, Volos.
Ah, that's different. Okay. Okay. 159 in Volos. The student kind of looks at it, looks at you. It's a communication device. It's in plane of existence within 10 miles. Kind of like message, but weird. Um, I mean, you whisper into it, and only your voice travels to I guess the receiver. Uh, they can't hear anything around you. But you can't hear anything around them, and only you hear them. I think. It's It can also I think it also tells like direction and distance from this to, well, it doesn't tell you direction and distance, it tells someone direction and distance to you, or rather to this.
Okay.
Um I don't this is really weird. The texture is I can't
Yes,
he
it's
starts making fumbly gestures.
yes. I mean, do you want to know further about it, or just leave it as it is?
It looks torn for a second and then just kind of puts the tooth down and slides it across the table towards you.
Appreciate it, thank you. Next one. She's going to pull out the spider web.
Yep. You get to the next student. Spiderweb. Do you mean the dream catcher?
Yes, the dream catcher.
Yeah, it's a little dream catcher, but it seems to be woven from spider silk.
Okay. Yep, sorry.
This one goes to a different student because the first one is out of spell slots. She takes a look and basically it's not attunement, it's more proximity in a sense. When kept on a person, that person cannot be contacted by the dream spell. But it seems to just kind of gobble up all sorts of dreams and nightmares in general. That is the most magical part of it, though.
Okay. Does it go anywhere, or does it just kind of absorb it?
Seems to just absorb it.
So it's almost like sound deafening for dreams?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Noise canceling headphones to sleep in.
Yeah, pretty much. Dream canceling headphones.
So I'm guessing Alsana didn't have much in the way of any dreams last night?
Oh, you had no dreams. It was blank. You fell asleep, you woke up, nothing in between.
Okay. Interesting. Is there like a title for it at all? Like a proper one?
Not really.
Can Alsana make a Arcana or Intelligence check if she knows of any? Well, I guess she'll ask the one identifying it. Is this something enchanted, or is it inherent to the material?
I think it's enchanted. I think I see what was meant about a weird texture. It doesn't seem to follow a lot of rules, but if I was to guess anything, I'd say it comes closest to abjuration.
And she nods. Nettie had mentioned there being spiders in her, like that she had found and she was taming. Does friendly spiders, does that seem in line with any like species of spiders she could think of?
Right, I'm gonna do the merciful DM thing. The spiders are not important.
Okay.
The spiders just happen to be something I had on Agatha Knucklebone's sheet that didn't come into play at all,
Okay.
and so it's being repurposed a little bit.
Okay. Yep. Because I was thinking she had like a small like hole in the wall full of spiders that do enchantable silk or something.
Nah, nothing that fun, nothing that fancy.
All right.
It was entirely possible that the spider silk for this dream catcher did come from those or at least similar spiders. However, they themselves are not magical.
Okay. Interesting and hilarious that I'm the one to have it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, if there's anything else, you can just go ahead and like write down a list of things. I'm just going to go down them one by one because you got a lot of spell slots available for identify.
Yep.
I think you've done 4.
Remind me, can identify be used for potions?
I believe it can.
Okay.
Yep, they're technically magic items.
All right. She's going to have that That potion, she was iffy on the greater healing, probably.
Mhm.
Have that identified?
It's identified as a potion of greater healing.
Okay. And she's going to have one check on the potion of laughter, because I don't think she got... Oh no, you gave me proper details on that in the chat.
I did details on that. There was one potion you couldn't suss out.
Oh, yes, question mark red heart potion.
Yep. And that is a potion of growth.
Alright.
Have fun.
That's hilarious.
Call to exile. Call
I
to
wanna
exile.
be
She'll
tall.
become the big mountain.
Has Calda done the... did she take the potion of giant strength? Yep.
Yeah, that was a while ago, yeah.
Alright. Because I still have some giant stuff, so I can probably make you another one, in which case we can double up.
I wanna be tall.
Make you the not-so-tiny mountain.
Oh.
Alright, anything else? Anything else? Where's the...
You've got 4 more.
Yep,
4 more things.
Yep, find the... where is...
You don't have to use them all if you don't have something, but you can.
Oh, she's going to do the hand mirror she got off the Skull Lord.
Ah, there we go. Let's go ahead and just give you the write-up I made for it now.
Okay.
As you get... there's a little bit of a what from the student identifying it. They write down the details, push it across, and say, I can't make sense of that last part. I think it's like for other planes, which Scrying can't. I don't think Scrying can usually do. I'd have to double check my notes on that though.
Gonna read.
And it's qualified for use as a scrying focus and imposes a -2 penalty to the target's wisdom saving throw. Basically, it's the scrying equivalent of a +2 to your attack or something.
Huh.
This mirror may
+2
scry on
scry,
creatures on other planes of existence, though it loses this modifier to the creature's save in exchange. And then there's the part that really confused the student, and it's really muddled, but I'm going to say for the sake of this, you read between the lines with your particular knowledge. Once per day, you can cast a scrying spell, your own scrying spell, on an individual in the mirror world.
Oh.
No, it's not your own scrying spell. It is from the mirror, and so therefore has a set DC.
Yep.
You have to have first-hand knowledge, if not familiarity, with the individual's counterpart in this world. But this individual has no modifiers to their save, and the DC is 15.
Be
So
the white witch Asana.
so then
See
it's
the white witch Asana.
yeah. So it would just have they would just like roll a d20, and if it's a 15 or above, they can pass.
Oh, when I said modifiers to their save, what I mean is there's
scrying
none of
modifiers
this
for
scrying.
protection?
Yeah.
Okay.
None of the, +2 for this, -2 for that.
Okay.
None of that applies. I did phraselet poorly. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't realize at the time.
Yep.
They still are making that wisdom saving throw with their wisdom saving modifier.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is not adjusted or anything for them being technically unknown to you as a person, for instance.
Okay. And she could not otherwise scry on someone in the mirror world?
No,
Okay.
you could not.
Oh,
Playing right.
You have a lot of power here, Alsana.
I know.
I want to see Asana, but nice. I want to see Roy, but not a whore.
I want to see White Witch Alsana.
So target creature you choose location seen before since it appears the location. And it's looking. Save modified by holding sword a bit. Alright. Does the target remind me, does the target become aware if it's like if the attempt to be scryed on happens?
It succeeds. Like if it passes the save, yes.
Let's see. If a target knows you're casting the spell, it can fail voluntarily. That's different. On a successful save, the target isn't affected. You can't use the spell against it again for 24 hours. Um,
Yeah, it doesn't say.
technically, it doesn't say that the target knows.
Okay.
Google it real quick.
I'm looking at the spell right now, Conrad.
Yeah.
It
The
doesn't
I
say.
mean,
spell-
like, if there's an errata.
I imagine that it gets a little bit awkward if you're a DM trying to use scrying against your players, because roll a wisdom save, don't worry about it, is interesting,
Yep.
but could be played off.
So
However, again, there is nothing in here that says that the target knows one way or another.
Okay. So, for the purposes of this game, this setting,
Mhm.
Alsana knows with her knowing the scrying spell that if she were to attempt it on someone, they would not know about it if they succeed the save.
Yep.
No, fuck you. Yes. Okay. She's just gonna, like, stare at that thing and go, oh my goodness. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a pretty unusual magic item. You could probably sell it for a lot if you find the right buyer.
Oh no, my dear, I am keeping this one for myself.
Oh, well, okay.
I am one of those buyers, or at least I would be.
Well, you've already got a lot of weird stuff, apparently. So
Traumatizing all these poor students.
you've got 3 more potential identifies.
Alright. Is there anything else, guys, I'm forgetting?
You got your inventory, man. I don't know.
Is there anything
Double
that
checking
we've
party loot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I'm
figured out a lot of
checking.
stuff just. We figured out a lot of stuff just by attuning to it. So
Okay,
Good.
question. My brain's in like 2 different places. Was the cracked hand mirror that mirror we just got?
I think so.
No.
Oh no,
The
the cracked.
mirror you just did was not cracked. It's
No,
in
the cra-
pristine condition.
The cracked one is the one that shows the shout behind you, and it just kind of does that.
Oh,
Yeah.
creepy.
You know, what, she's gonna
God.
she's gonna do that one, just for fun to know exactly what it does.
Yep. There's a little bit of a shiver, and basically consensus that it doesn't seem to be any known spell, which is bizarre, but it almost seems like it's supposed to induce some kind of fear or paranoia over a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
just mean.
And
You're evil?
and
Yo.
it's illusionary, yes.
Oh, guys, we're dumb.
Yeah.
We're in the Dragonborn capital. We have a helmet of comprehend languages.
Yeah, we do.
It's like, all right, just making sure there's nothing actually in it. That's looking at you. Though, if you want to try it, give it a try. Just hold it up to the right light.
Flips it over so the mirror's upside down, pushes it over. That's all yours. Don't go off the deep end and, like, kill everything around you because you think everything's out to get you, please.
She gives this like almost like exaggerated hurt expression, like, well, I never.
Yeah, a lot of people never, and then they find stuff like this.
I have other stuff too.
The amethyst ring, is that anything, or just an amethyst ring?
You found out what the amethyst
Oh
ring
no,
did.
that's the hag one.
Oh, right, okay. I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it. I just realized on my sheet I have something to give Alsana later. That's gonna be fun. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
She'll just ask real quick then. Do you want to maybe cast one on me?
Why? Why do you
um,
like traumatizing these poor kids?
I mean, I guess the
just curious
teacher
if-
nods and says it's a valid use of the identification spell. It will show any in progress spell effects.
We appreciate
Okay.
it.
We need to get just like a grocery list.
So, Alsana, do you have any spell effects that you have on yourself that you know of?
That I know of. I mean, there would be the Lockstone and the cloak.
The cloak is its own entity.
Yeah.
So,
Just like it, things that are affecting her, so to say.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else. Yeah, anything like outside of the equipment she knows she has.
Well, there's this one thing that seems to just kind of bend a little bit of luck. It's not huge, uh, but for the better for you.
Oh yeah, that's this right here. She kind of like turns in her hand. Luckstone.
Huh.
You can probably read up on it.
You're full of weird things.
I think that's like the thesis for Alsana's life.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm not finding anything.
Okay.
Did you expect me to, or?
As you might wonder by my collection, I come into contact with a few things. I just wanted to make sure nothing stuck to me and I didn't quite notice.
Oh, okay. And the teacher kind of takes that moment to turn it into a teaching moment about certain magics and how they can be ill effects and how you can recognize signs, how you can find, how you can use Identify to diagnose things so that you know what to solve, and it just kind of turns into the lecture hall from there.
You should go to your family wizard once a year to get a checkup.
Mm-hmm.
If possible, Alsana will find one of the teachers.
Okay.
And she'll just go, excuse me, do you find yourself in need of any particular materials? Let's say I come across quite a bit of various things, so if there's any exemplary items that would be good for the lessons or something, maybe I could provide.
There's kind of a wry, toothy smile and says, magical components always come in handy. If you happen to find any pearls of proper quality kicking around, then we'll pay for them, of course, but things like that.
How about the internal of a earth elemental?
You see the eyebrows raise.
She's going to pull out the Chrysoberio?
The Chrysoberyl?
Chrysobero. 100 gold piece and gem she got from the middle of a Galebder.
All right.
You aware of
Hold
a Galebder?
Quite. May I hold out a hand to inspect it? Kind of gives it a look over, holds it up to the light. You see him cast Identify on it himself. No innate magical properties in and of itself. However, if it was quality enough for such a summoning, then it may have properties that can be explored or may be made use of in similar ways. Well, if you're looking to sell, I believe that we can make an agreement with some of the clerks. At the very least, I can also buy it personally for my own studies, and if the college would like to reimburse me as something official, then so be it. If not, I'll treat it as a curiosity for myself.
She understands that. Yeah, I wrote down at the time around 100 gold pieces. Is 105 like unreasonable to someone like this, or would does she feel like she's going a bit much here, or like?
You can go ahead and give it a try. It seems like it might be reasonable. It would take a small persuasion check with a low DC.
All right. Yep, she'll just do a persuasion. So that goes 15.
Yep. All right. 105. That seems fair.
Sounds like a deal then. She hands it over.
He tucks it away. He counts out some coins off in the corner. He counts out platinum for the most part. So you get 10 platinum and 5 gold.
She thanks him. Now, how about something that is innately magical? Might be a good example for the students. It's overtly cursed.
Might depend on the manner of the curse and the item.
So long as someone doesn't put it on, and she pulls out the hag curse ring.
Usually a good idea with items that are cursed but wearable. Allow me. He casts Identify on it. And you see his brow kind of furrow. One of those, I suppose, unless you're being clever.
What do you mean?
And you see him start... I sense no curse on this, but I do sense magic. He starts to cast Detect Magic. Certainly magic.
If you want
he
a
starts
in-depth,
to cast something a little bit more complicated. It looks like Identify from the hand motions and from the muttering. But it's kind of as if there was a higher level Identify possible. And he gives the ring another scan with it. Oh, there it is. Fairly well hidden. Yes, that would be a teaching tool. I'm not getting much in the way of details of the curse, aside from transformation and difficulty of removal.
it turns one into the wretched appearance of a hag.
Hmm.
Can only be done with the spell of removing curse.
Very interesting.
Purely physical change, though, and you don't gain odd magics or strength of a hag or anything.
Could be of use in some of our upper level courses. This one, definitely university. Come this way, I'll take you to some of the clerks and we'll get something official.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, he takes you to basically the auditing department. You get a receipt, a price is agreed upon. They offer a good 300 gold.
Okay.
Right.
Can you do a persuasion to try to get it a bit more?
Alright, how much more are you trying to get it?
Maybe 5-10 gold, not too much, just a little. Hey,
Alright. A little tip.
Yep.
Roll a persuasion. It's a little harder because clerks.
13.
They do not agree to the 10, but they do agree to 5 for your troubles.
I think that's reasonable.
So 305.
Alright.
Basically another 30 platinum, another 5 gold.
I'm just putting in the gold for the sake of ease.
Yep, go ahead. All right. So, with that little adventure of identifying magic items out of the way, is anybody else up to anything in Windsor?
Not really. No.
Where did Kane walk to? He walked in a random direction.
Roll a D100.
Stick.
11.
Please tell me someone tries to mug him or something. I closed the room.
Congratulations.
I heard
Oh.
the click that did it.
Yeah.
All right. You don't really walk to anything in particular. You just kind of meander up and down a few streets, see a few sights, smell a few smells. One of the sights you see as you go, though, is you see a new, very shiny copper piece lying on the side of the street. Head side up.
Perfect. Goes picked up.
It doesn't move.
Kane just down. Well, either taking the stone with me, not getting the copper piece, and he's gonna lift as hard as he can.
Ariel, you understand you've just committed another 30 minutes of the session, right?
As you're
Not that
kind of-
long.
as you're trying to pry at this copper piece, get your fingers underneath it, you hear some very small giggles from a nearby alley.
I'm just gonna smile and like over exaggerate how hard he's pulling.
The giggles did.
He's gonna kind of stand up, like hands on his hips, like, "Well, copper piece, you won't best me today," and pull out his flaming sword.
In the alley, and then another furious round of shooshing. But look, he's got a
And he'll smile and point the sword and challenge the copper piece to a duel.
You put on a brilliant show for what turned out to be a small group of children in the alleyway who happened to have a pot of glue on hand and a penny.
He'll kind of smile their way on the way out and just kind of walk away.
Yeah.
That is all.
All right.
He goes back to the inn.
You guys can meet back up. Calda, more people recognize you on the street as the Little Mountain.
Fuck.
Some ask for handshakes, some ask for arm wrestles, some ask for autographs.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to
Yeah.
little strolls. I was gonna like put like a little note, just like, okay, avoid Windsor Thor with family. until we become a family troupe of wrestlers.
All right.
You.
That'd be funny. In just like 5 years, Calder comes back to Windsor Thor and everyone just Bob. We're the little mountain range motherfuckers.
Oh my god.
Oh. All right. So, if that's it for everybody, you meet back up. You pack back up. You can stay the night here. You can go on to your next destination, wherever that may be.
Alsana is going to, real quick, go up to Ken and go, excuse me, I just need to store something in the bag, if that's okay.
What do you need?
And she pulls out the tooth.
Sure, and he'll just open it for her.
She drops it in.
All right.
And then she will, you know what, she is... actually, yeah, that'll be it for now.
All right. So, where are you guys going and when?
I assume Soren.
Walton for me. He's just gonna keep walking.
Oh yeah, you can keep going, but we're all heading
Yeah.
Soren way.
Yeah.
Do you want to zoop out of a tree at Soren, or in the wood, in Walton,
Halfway
halfway
between the two.
between?
I mean, we could do a
It's a
half.
whole ass forest, so.
Actually, you know what? Well, I guess just before they leave, Alsan will stop by Morticia's once more and just go, we're planning on heading out for now.
Of course. Yes. I've got a lot of work to do with what you brought me.
I would think so.
It'll keep
So-
me busy.
Sorry to just drop it on you and then leave. I would love to help, but we've got various other things that I can't other things to visit, and then some more pressing matters. But next month, probably around the middle, I should be back again.
Very good. Hopefully I'll have, at least a sizable dent in those things by then. As long as I don't get too busy.
Real quick, you don't need any dead talked to, do you?
You were a little late this time, but I'll try to keep that I'll try to keep that in place. Though actually, if you'd like, his funeral isn't for another day. Would you like to come in and see if there's any last words for the family or anything that he feels they need to know?
Oh,
Let's make it open-ended.
I think that's reasonable.
You go in, you speak to the memories, the reanimated memories of an ordinary man once upon a time. You get the messages for the family. You get the word that he kept a little rainy day stash, something he kept secret even from his wife and children, and occasionally used to surprise them with gifts. In a particular hidden in a particular corner of the home that they should retrieve now. You're able to pass that news on, and you're able to probably be on your way.
One last thing. Sorry. Just
Okay.
I do the things I do. Can she just, over the time she's been with Morticia, can she do a medicine check? See if she's into breast health?
Go ahead.
All right.
I just love the idea of first date. Okay, let me take your blood pressure. Okay, let me make sure your eyelids are okay.
Here's the thing,
Skin's alright.
she can do that when she hugs her. That's a 31.
Yep. Yep. There seems to be like a little bit of a scratch in her voice that morning. Maybe a little bit sinus, maybe a little bit seasonal, something or other. You're able to clear it up pretty easily.
Alright.
Nothing dire.
Yep, all good, all good. It's like, also, I see how you sit in chairs sometimes. Maybe just a bit more straight up.
God damn it, Devin.
Wow. Impressive.
Devin, I'm sorry, but you have to realize she's gay. She cannot sit straight. I don't make the rules. Just how it is.
Yeah.
Evan, that was impressive.
I mean, we don't know that.
Don't we though?
This could just lead to heartbreak. But yes, with that, Alsana will find a spot at the edge of Windsor.
You can find the same tree you came in through.
Do we by chance pass by a very exasperated merchant?
My cabbages.
Roll a d20.
Oh my gosh.
This is what I thrive for, Ariel. I can't have combat, I must have chaos.
Mm-hmm. You don't actually see him, but at one point as you're walking down the street, you think you hear somebody go, "Oh, crap!" and clop, 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 clop of the donkey going very quickly in a different direction.
Oh, that's great. You see, that's the end goal, but you don't need to drag it out into their day. There's an art to it. And she'll just write some ash runes on the tree, drag her finger down, and just...
All right. Are we ending up in Soren Wood?
Yep, she's going to, if possible, actually, how far is the shrine from everything?
Kind of halfway.
Okay. Yeah, then she'll stop them at the shrine.
All right. You out into the center of the shrine, and it's very different from when many of you last saw it. The snow has melted, the ice is gone. It is green and lush with life, beautiful and growing. The lamp vine that had been planted has kind of started to spread further across the trees. Still juvenile, it's not overtaken anything by any means, but it's grown a little bit. You hear a faint buzzing sound,
Yes.
and there's a little, "Oh!" And you look over and you see an elf. Alsana, you recognize this one as Navira, the bee elf, the bee druid.
Hello, dear.
Bees?
Oh, hi!
She'll
Hey,
run over and go for a hug.
How are you? I didn't expect that by any means, but I didn't expect to see you, so I guess soon? You drop in occasionally, but I don't know, I never really know when.
Yes, I need to get better about telling people ahead of time, but let's just say I came across some magic recently, and I can kind of do that now.
It's really impressive. I'm gonna have to learn that, I mean, someday, when I get a little bit better at everything.
You've got a bit ways to go, but I'm sure you can do it.
I'm working on it.
Speaking of working on, and she looks around.
I'll show you the beehives. Come here.
Please.
Alright.
Oh, by the
You're
way,
giving a
these are my
tour.
friends, Calda, Alaris, and Gain.
Calder,
Hello.
Lars, Kane, hello.
Hi.
My
Where's
name's
this?
Navira.
Me
I
too,
keep bees.
then. You keep bees?
Yeah.
Can I buy honey from you?
Absolutely.
It's
Biggest
very
jar
good
you
honey.
have.
Yep, you get a great big jar of honey for a very reasonable price, given the size of the jar of like 3 silver pieces.
He's gonna just nod to Alsana like, well, I'm gonna go have a date with honey, and I will meet in Soren.
As a
Oh, yes.
as a return thank you for the attempt, I suppose, the other day. If you're going to go see her, maybe use the honey for some sort of cheesy pickup line. She seems to like the romantic stuff.
See, for once we're on the same page. Don't worry.
You and your new couples, and oh, I'm coming with you, Kane.
All right. Old couple, and he kind of nods to Alaris. Hope the wife is happy. Send her my regards.
Oh,
Same with the little one.
yeah.
And tell those two at the guard tower that I say hello. Hope all is doing well.
I'll be sure to. Sure, they'll be thrilled to know that you'll be terrorizing them soon again.
I know, right? Alsana will catch up.
Yep.
With her favorite beekeeper.
Yep. Things are doing well. The shrine is really coming back. The bees are happy. They're producing almost more honey than Navira can possibly get rid of. Though she has been getting in contact with traders going up and down the river, just to pass along some of it. In the meantime, Ilaris,
Yep.
you walk towards Walton. Kane and Calda, you head towards Soren.
Can I get one thing in? Can I get one thing in?
Okay.
Alsana would, if she could maybe use a commune with nature spell slot or something.
Mhm.
She basically wants to try to talk to the shrine and potentially the spirit of its last guardian.
Not how commune with nature typically works.
She also had, if it's been at least like an hour for a short rest, she would have her speech beyond the grave back.
Mhm.
And I know we did leave the body in the, shrine basically. So
I think you buried it.
yes.
Regardless, I will allow it with a wisdom check to see how you make it work.
All right.
Or if you make it work. You can guidance yourself, I'm pretty sure, because it would be a guidance used upon casting that spell, so.
All right. Wisdom check.
Bells,
29.
bells. Alright.
Oh,
You don't get a
wow.
voice, but what would you like to ask?
She'd like to know if at least how it's going right now is pleasing. As well, she would like to put forward the idea of potentially a successor, if the blessing could be given. She's thinking of the Pegasus.
Yep. It is pleasing, and it is possible.
Okay.
As long as the successor is a creature of intelligence and purity.
All right. And as she kind of does that, she'll kind of almost wake up and turn back and. Oh, by the way, how are you with horses?
We're just going to treat that as a cut.
All right.
That is a great scene endpoint. By the way, complete non sequitur. So, Ilaris.
Yeah.
You head back to Walton.
Yes.
It looks fantastic. It's in great shape. The sun is shining. All of the troubles that were given by the Blight, caused by the Blights, for all those years, seemingly wiped away almost. Though there is one interesting new addition in that the sign on the road that has always borne the name of Walton now has an additional smaller sign underneath. And that additional sign says, Home of the Blight Killer.
Everyone's
Didn't
getting
recognize that
titles.
Everyone's getting titles. Ooh, I like it. And he's
Kane
going to.
Leaf.
He's gonna walk straight towards his house.
And before you even get there, there is a shout of "Dad!" as Gage
There he
comes
is.
tearing across the dirt, dropping a stick he seemed to be carrying in one hand, and just throws himself right at your midriff. You might go down.
Yeah.
It's a
Strength
solid
save?
hit.
Strength save.
Go ahead and roll a strength save.
Oh, of course.
Kid's gonna grow up to be a football player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Go down.
Beard out of my pants.
And that is the day the Blight Killer fell.
Full on football tackle. Oh my god.
Yep, there's apologies. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
It's
to.
okay.
Ah!
It's okay. It's okay.
Didn't mean to hit you that
It's
hard.
alright.
Hey, so I've been practicing, swords. And he points at the stick he dropped, and you see his friend kind of back a little ways, give him a wave. I believe.
Now.
Oh, I've
Mom's
forgotten
okay
my own
with this,
NPC's
right?
names. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she just says to make sure we don't, like, poke each other's eyes out or anything, and then we're good.
Good. Yeah. What she said. And as he's rubbing his hair.
Yeah.
Where is she anyway? And he's gonna pick him up and
Oh,
put him on his shoulder.
Mom's at home and just wraps his arms underneath your chin. He's getting heavier, you notice. Maybe it's just been a little while, but he's also been growing.
Yeah. Getting taller. He's
Yeah.
he's walking towards the
I'm gonna
house.
be- I'm gonna be taller than you one day.
Oh, I don't doubt it. He's gonna put him down.
Mom makes me eat my vegetables, so I do it just for that. It, except for the lettuce. I don't like that.
Fair.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go and, I'm gonna go practice a little more, but, yeah, I'll be home.
I'm gonna say
I'll be
I don't
home in
know.
a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Be home for dinner, okay?
Yeah, of course I will. He runs off, picks up the stick,
That's a good
and
boy.
you see the boys start to charge at each other with sticks again.
Yeah, and he's gonna wave and then walk into the house.
Anime sound
see-
effects in the background as he walks off.
Yeah. You kind of walk in and you see Aurora back to the door. She seems to be actually trying to repot a plant for one of her kitchen herbs. There's kind of dirt all over the table. And she's kind of finagling more into the pot from a bucket she brought in from outside. She looks over her shoulder and you
Busy?
see surprise. Well, hello, you.
Oh.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
Yes, yes. And he walks over eagerly.
Yep. And she gives you a great big kiss and a hug. Kind of awkward because she's trying not to get her hands all over you because they're caked in dirt. So, where have you been? How have you been doing? Sit down.
I've been great. He's gonna sit down. Been to Windsor, and then like mutter under his breath, Howling Plains.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, Resmond.
Winterfloor, Resmond. Oh, you've been all over the place.
Yeah. Went to and he's reminder where we've been.
Ah, Windsor, Resmond, you were very briefly in Veravale, which is a whole other country, actually.
Yeah.
Windsor is technically as well, because you guys are kind of on that border of, you're kind of in Umbar, but you're not too far from the territory Azora claims, so...
Yeah.
However, Galgaea is way down south.
Yeah. Was in Veravale for a little bit.
Aurora just asks to hear about all the places you've been, all of the things you've done, people you've met.
Just trying to dance around the fact that he went to the Howling Plain, not trying to scare the daylights out of his wife or anything.
Deception check.
I think that's some kind of charisma check. I'm not sure if it's deception as it's omission. You know, sure, deception.
Deception.
Yeah.
19.
Mm,
How dare
Yeah,
you lie to your wife?
that's good enough.
Lie by omission. I
yep.
don't want to
Yeah.
tell that I went into the Howling Plain.
You keep it to the lighter stuff, the fun stuff, the interesting stuff, the, maybe take the family there one day if we, had the time stuff.
Yeah, Windsor Thor's great.
Yeah. She'd love to visit one day.
Oh, definitely.
You're able
Paige would love
to,
it.
yep, you're able to keep it to that kind of tone of conversation and interest. She tells you a little bit about gossip around town, what she's been doing,
He's
her
like
gardens.
looking at her lovingly, and then he'll just sort of, while she's talking, place a kiss on her cheek.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh, did you know that? Did you see the sign on the road?
I did? Very surprising.
They couldn't really agree on what to name it or how to put it. Some people wanted it to say Home of Alaris Tunderfist. Others argued that nobody outside of us really knew your name probably, and the title was much more bombastic. I voted for
I love
Alaris Tunderfist. I love your name.
Oh, of course.
But eventually we settled on the Blight Killer, though I think Blight Bane was thrown around for a little while.
That's not bad.
I'll tell you what, the town is very proud of what you've done. You and your friends, but you belong to us in a certain way.
Good to be home.
It's good to have
Good to
you
be
home.
with you. He's just gonna slowly wrap his arms around her.
How long until you get to be home?
I get to be here for a couple of days and then I have to go to the shrine, but you'll be seeing my friends again for sure.
Well, we'll certainly have to make the most of those couple of days.
Yeah.
The forest is beautiful to walk in again.
Yeah. And he'll take her by the hand and why don't we?
Let's.
Give her a smile.
You take a stroll in the woods. Gage tags along after realizing where you're heading. Aurora had grabbed a small pail before heading out and distracts Gage for a while with finding berry bushes, pointing out the good ones. Blackberries, that sort of thing. And it's a beautiful day. Kane and Calda, you head to Soren. You're let in through the gates. They are wide open. The port side of town is bustling with trade. It is the summer season, and things are moving.
Kane will, if he can, pick up some kind of fruit that goes well with honey, as well as like a piece of wood that uses a plate. Actually, he probably has one in his bag.
Sticking however much money Kane spends and putting it back in his bag of holding.
It's not expensive. It's not much.
Like 2 copper called.
Yeah. You're essentially spending coppers. If you get a lot of fruit or a particularly fun assortment, maybe it's a silver altogether.
He's getting like a fruit for each, like 2 people, and like 1 for Calda.
Yep.
I'll just like your mom thing, oh, you spent a silver, here you go, and starts flipping a platinum into the bag.
I say you're able to pick up a bunch of berries as well as a couple of larger fruits.
So he'll hand Calda like a small bit of them, as well, like a little bit of honey. Like, okay, this is your portion. I am going to go show off my cool new weapon to my girlfriend. God, that's weird to say.
I'm sure your librarian girlfriend will love it.
If not, I can tell her cool stories about the hidden city that we found, but the weapon is cool.
Being completely serious, very supportive relationship. I do see very good things.
I'm glad to hear it. Maybe I'll take a book. I will be back. Some
Sure.
point, probably. And he'll just kind of
Yoy.
go and just head straight to the library.
He's gonna like sit in the
Yeah.
cafe and listen to gossip and try to join in on gossip and she's bored. Start some shit.
Start some shit. Start
Oh,
some
that is like my favorite of like the command spell commands. Start some shit.
Left a mom alone and like
Yep.
Yeah.
What would you like to start?
ooh.
Shit.
Well, yeah. Let's just do
shit.
like minor stuff about like she overhears any like names that she remembers of like any of the teenagers around or something. See like a couple of them are dating. Oh, they're dating them. Oh no. I heard from this person. And just make up so much shit with the
Oh my
random names she's
God.
heard whenever she was in Soren.
Don't
Oh
let
my
me-
Alsana
God.
has had a good influence on this party.
Roll
Yes.
deception.
Asanda, you're one of the only influences we've had.
Oh, you start like 5 different rumors and you kind of take charge of 7 more.
That's about
You
right.
cross so many wires. The local gossip landscape is going to be very, very interesting over the next week or two.
Oh, great. She's gonna go hide in the library after doing
Couple
what
of
she's
those,
done.
couple of those rumors are gonna be like turn real. It's like, oh no, what have I
Gonna go-
created?
Just sit on the edge of the forest and just watch from afar.
God, whom pregnant?
If anyone gets like that tiny little smack in the face by the walls,
You hear a brick crash through a window with a note attached.
she's just gonna
Oh,
sit there and just go, "Oh no, Asana's wearing off on me."
As you have a
Right.
moment of unexpected introspection.
I'm so proud.
Kane.
you're so proud, or she'd be so proud.
She'd be so proud.
He walks into the
I'm
library.
so
I
proud
presume
of
by now.
myself for starting all this
Yep.
shit. I mean, yeah, but like, you don't have to fucking say it.
Kid will just walk into the library and kind of be like, hi, is she in today?
And Eloise looks up from the desk and the big bright smile crosses her face.
And he goes, perfect. Because, I figured, I've been away from something, but I saw something remind me of her. He puts down the berries and the fruit, he puts down the honey. Wasn't sweet as you were, but close enough.
And there's a oh from Eloise and an older librarian off to the side. Hey, no food in here. Out, 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 out.
He just laughs and is like, alright, fine. He takes the food and grabs Eloise like around the waist and carries her out.
And she calls, "Oh, I'm taking my break. I'll be back."
I'll bring you some honey too if it makes you feel better, Miss Librarian Lady.
Oh, don't. She's far too sour.
Maybe it'll like even it out.
Maybe. Give it to her after the library shift is over, though. Honey around books.
Fair point. I
Also,
want to show you something, but I don't want you to freak out.
you're sweet. And she gives
Oh.
you a kiss on the cheek.
Thank you. I want to show you something, but don't freak out.
Promising start to everything. Do we need to be out in the middle of the street, or do we need to find somewhere else for this? There's a park, not too
A
far
park
from
sounds
here.
good. Park sounds
Yep. Are you going to let me down, or should I just?
good. No, just point the way I need to go.
Oh, all right.
Oh my goodness.
Left, right up there.
I'm not.
Yep. And then he eventually like, puts her down like near a bench and goes, okay. So I found this cool thing. I'll tell you the story about how I got it after, because I know that's the part you're going to find more interesting, but first I just want to show you this. And he pulls out the Flame Tongue Greatsword.
And there is a properly appreciative. Oh,
Wait, hold on. And he turns it into the battle axe.
oh.
Turns it into a spear. It's got one more. Turns it into the mace.
No. There are 6 buttons on that. You just pushed 4.
Don't put. Well, okay. I can push this one, but is there a tree nearby?
You're gonna suck the life out of a tree.
That's not what I'm gonna do. Don't worry.
No, those are not buttons. The other buttons are a climbing ladder pole.
He's
And
gonna.
they
He's basically
battering
for a
ram.
tree to use the ladder on.
Yeah, there's one nearby. There's also like some walls and small outbuildings and things like that.
Yeah, but I don't want to be accused of trespassing. So he's gonna summon the ladder and like use it on the tree. And then he'll
That-
just summon a battering ram. Like, I'm not gonna knock down the tree, but I could.
Oh, please don't. I like this tree.
Gonna patch the tree. Good.
All right.
Turn it
Pass
back
the
into
tree with a
back into his
battering
pocket.
ram and
Okay.
explode.
Now,
You.
let me
sit
tell
down.
you about the.
Yep, you promised me stories, and I'm not eating all this fruit by myself. You're sharing. Come here.
Fair enough. Then he goes, so you ever heard of this underground city where the undead rule?
No.
Good. And he starts telling that story.
Oh.
Does it ever come out that you went to the Howling Plains?
Yes. He is too excited to hold it back.
God.
You went where?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I grew up in the swamp. It's like the kind of shady neighborhood, just a little bit out of town, you know?
You
I love
are
how
incredible.
Different Alaris and Kane are. It's like Kane's like, Alaris is like, I don't want to scare my wife with the prospect that I could have very nearly died in the Howling Plains and
Yes,
not
but
been
Kane
able
just
to-
got the coolest weapon in existence and finally has a chance to show it off.
Between marriage and dating.
Yes.
You are incredible, and I am glad you survived, and please be careful.
Apparently John's having troubles there.
Yep.
He goes, I appreciate all of those, and I will try to survive. I'm usually pretty good at it. I've yet to fail so far.
Well, it's a start. Now, tell me some more about this city, these ruins. Oh, I need to write everything down. And just, the rest of the afternoon passes almost in... Well, not the rest of the afternoon. She does have to head back in about an hour.
I imagine
Um,
it's just like the break, and it's like, how late can you be to return?
I will get some severe frowns and probably a lecture if I'm out too much longer.
How about this?
But I'm off in a few hours.
That sounds good. How about I bring flowers for the angry lady?
That could probably work.
Perfect. He'll pull a vase out of his bag.
Were you gonna roll your d20 for that?
Let's see how good of it is.
It's a nice vase.
Perfect. And he just looks for whatever random flowers he can find because he has no taste.
Eloise helps.
Perfect.
So go ahead and roll a perception at advantage.
The one wisdom skill I actually have.
It's the one wisdom skill a great many D&D players have because it is useful. In
Nah.
general. Nah.
We walk in blind.
Yeah, you get a pretty good bunch of wildflowers out of the park. Get them into the vase, get some water in there, and bring them back. The other librarian accepts them with a little bit of a sniff, and just mind you don't go bringing that stuff around these books again.
It is already consumed. We have washed our hands. Don't worry. By the way, are you one for tales or no?
I am a bit busy at the moment. However, if you would like anything transcribed, I would be happy to help.
I was going to ask if you need anything heavy moved. I'm not good for much cerebrally, but I have muscles.
She looks between you and Eloise. If you insist on helping, I will place you in her charge. Mind that you are appropriately appreciative of the knowledge housed here.
Well, I'm quite appreciative. I'm just kind of dumb. I like reading, just not very good at it.
She looks at Eloise. Keep an eye on this one. And sweeps off.
Think that was a good impression?
It could have been worse.
I'm not gonna lie to her and tell her I'm smart.
I think that you're smarter than you give yourself credit for.
I mean, probably yes, but you know, I'd rather be humble than braggadocious.
As humble as you were about your very shiny new toy.
Oh no, I'm a badass with a weapon. That doesn't change.
That is true. Like, oh my god.
It's not
And he will-
bragging if it's true, I suppose.
Exactly. And he'll lend a hand around the library and
Yeah.
just try to be useful in the time he's here.
All right.
At some point, could Alsana have come into Soren, maybe bringing Navira along?
All right.
I imagine she's been out there for a bit. Like, would she be willing to come in for a bit?
Oh, I kind of go in and out of the library, not the library, Soren all the time. Bringing honey in, bringing honey out. My house is still there. I still live in Soren. It's a little more comfortable than the woods.
Right,
Bit of a long trek, but if I don't want to camp out, it's nice having a roof over my head.
well, I can make the trek a bit quicker if you'd like to go in. And she pulls out the broom, floats on it.
Sure, let's give this a try. Buzz like a bee.
I was about to say, would you like to see what it's like to fly like one of the bees? And
Yep, get this thing moving.
Yep, and she will fur up above the treetops.
There's a little squeak, but then there's laughter. Someday I'm going to be able to turn into things with wings, and I'm going to do this as often as I can.
Speaking of which, this will be good practice then. What have you been learning? And then she'll just basically do like a little like pop quiz almost as they're flying.
You assess the talents of your little druid, not quite protege.
Not quite protege.
She's
Part-time
doing better.
apprentice?
She's learned some new spells. She doesn't have fast progress. She's not like an adventurer leveling up, getting into scrape after scrape. She's just picking up a utility thing here or there,
And
getting
she's
a better
very
grasp
proud of
on
her.
this and other that. Yep. You get into town, and Navira goes back to her house. Where would you like to go?
Sounds good. Checking at the library.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a d20 for timing.
Sure thing.
You walk in, Eloise is balancing on his shoulders, putting books on a high shelf.
8.
Not quite. You walk in, and they are currently out at the park.
Alright.
So, unbeknownst to you, that they are not here.
Yeah, she wants to, if possible, just do a bit of research.
All right. What would you like to research?
It probably wouldn't be the best place for it, but if she could, she wants to partially look into any of the lore or anything behind the guardian in the Soren Wood.
I feel like you researched this a long time ago when you were first researching the Blight and Soren.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
you might
think
be
you'd
right.
find. I don't think you'd find anything new.
Okay.
You already know that the unicorn is a common sign around Soren, a common symbol. You know that there are stories of, long time ago when Soren Wood was like bright and fresh and new and etc., etc. It was safe to walk. There was a garden in the forest. You basically know everything that this place has to offer.
Then could she basically, like, I guess maybe having like the information on hand a bit, almost like start to devise a potential, not full-on ritual, but like some sort of ceremony or something to bring in the Pegasus potentially?
All right. So, go ahead and roll your investigation check.
Investigation.
Or Arcana. Let's make it Arcana.
Oh, right. Guidance applied.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
20. My bad.
Yep. Slightly different die there. All right. 21. You don't have a complete ritual, but you have what you think is a fairly solid baseline. As you start to look into concepts of magical guards of places, summoned or otherwise, ideas of kind of tying yourself to a place, to a concept, willingly, and protecting it. You start to find and look into somewhat more unusual, esoteric things. things about wards, things about making things safe, making places secure, and what sorts of things you can tie those safety measures to. There's not a lot here, but you're starting to get the ceiling of what to do,
Okay.
what to work with. You've got enough you can continue to develop the idea, and if you find other places, other resources, then you can kind of implement more things and make sure it's sound.
Okay. And I mean, obviously not right now, but potentially, like, if as she's researching this, could she be looking into things she could like bring or use as maybe components?
Mhm.
Like what, like basically, what would be something for her to look out to maybe go find, go buy, grow herself, things like that.
All right. With this sort of thing, a lot of it is going to be self-made, and a lot of the self-made is going to be this feels right, this fits symbolically, this has magic that aligns with it. The unicorn horn seems like a great deal of potential, let's say. I believe that you might also have something else from the unicorn that you might have saved. I think you saved a little bit of ground up horn dust
Yes.
from shaping it.
Yep, she still has those.
Yep, those would be good.
How would Dittany be,
Anything?
considering it's like kind of radiant?
Huh?
Dittany.
What was it?
Dittany.
Dittany. Possibly, if radiance is what you're going for, then
Just
Dittany
something to
would
be in
probably-
line with that kind of like celestial, like
Yeah.
range.
You know that as far as the place itself goes, the shrine itself is magical. That could play into things. That could make things easier. Usually, when you're trying to ward or do something, bind a magical creature to a place, it's easiest to do it in that place, and it's easiest to do it with elements of that place somehow worked into the spell. Sometimes rituals are purely sign sigils. Sometimes they might involve drinking a potion. Sometimes they might involve burying something in the location. It varies. It varies, and honestly, it could be up to you to creatively craft.
Okay. You're a bit robot-y, by the way.
Got that?
Check, check. Check, check.
Check, check. All right, just
Oh.
had to wait for it to pass.
Okay. And one last thing. She's gonna pull out the mirror.
Okay.
She's going to try to scry on herself.
All right. So, 1 second while I open up a sheet that I haven't needed.
Hmm.
Focusing on the idea of yourself, but in the other world. You focus onto the mirror. I'm going to roll to GM. Wisdom saving throw. The mirror's surface kind of shimmers and swirls, but nothing appears. It reached, and it could not get through.
Worth a try, I suppose. She. Yeah. Okay.
You get the sense not of any sort of failure of the spell itself. You don't get the sense that it didn't reach anything.
Success
You
on the
get
other end.
sense of yes.
Did she?
It just couldn't grasp.
Could she potentially make an Arcana check or something to pull any information from how it was saved against?
Go ahead and roll Arcana.
All right. Guidance applies.
Go ahead. I think so in this case.
20.
20. A very good wisdom save.
Okay.
No magical interference, just not this day.
Yep. All right. And she didn't. Nothing like magic resistance or anything, right?
Didn't seem so.
Okay.
Hard to say, but didn't seem so.
Okay. She'll kind of stare at the mirror for a bit longer and sigh. Another day, I suppose. Just what am I? She's like looking at the mirror and looking back at herself. What has caused so much trouble?
All right, so as the day comes to a close for various people in various places, a calm and peaceful one after the trials of the Howling Plains, you guys can find places to rest, each of you. Elaris in your own home.
Yep.
Kane, Kalda, Alsana, you can find rooms in Soren, places to stay. Kane, you actually get an offer of a small guest room, a little couch in Eloise's family's home,
He has slept on far worse.
where you meet her mother
Oh
and
boy.
her sister.
Oh boy.
You've already met her mother. You're doing great.
So as Kane tries not to have an aneurysm,
Mhm.
he offers to cook.
Just for fun, how good of a cook would you say Kane is normally?
I have a perfect cooking pan.
Ah, yes. That was advantage on that pan, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Roll an advantaged wisdom check. And
Roll this with a +1.
yeah, okay.
14.
Okay. You make a pretty good meal, actually. Despite the nerves of the situation, despite the unfamiliar place. And it seems to be a decent first impression.
I like to imagine he sits down at the dinner table, everyone kind of looks weird, look, goes right. Goes like, right, plate armor. Goes to take off.
All right. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and call this one a wrap,
All right.
as the 20th day of quietude ends, and you are 1 week and 2 days out from the next full moon and the next shrine. So, till next time.
Until next time.